defeated my mind and my body. But there's one thing I say and always need.
This world shall know pain.
His come and dance with me in hell, won't you?
What is up, peeps? It is time for another episode of Chibi No Podcast. You got me, Dave the Smash Fan.
Mister.
Good point.
And Boricua Senpai.
What's with this lack of enthusiasm?
I wouldn't even say lack of enthusiasm. He seems
Trouble.
exasperated.
Yeah. I'm exaggerating.
Life is hard.
That's not the word I said.
This is why he doesn't go to school anymore.
They didn't want me.
Yeah, sure. That's why.
I didn't want them.
That sounds more plausible. Well, if this is your first time listening to Chibi No Podcast, we're just a bunch of friends talking about
brothers,
nerdy
though.
stuff.
Why?
Why? Because it's our passion.
Okay.
It's called Chibi No Podcast, you nerd.
Yeah.
It's not talk about chibi people. Where's the chibi in the podcast?
It's the avatars that he made.
Yeah, the avatars I made, they're chibi.
Okay.
Hence the name.
I like how you saw your brother out the first thing you got. Just
Well, it's been an interesting week.
we talk about it. It's been great.
No, it's been interesting.
world
we have a lot of
of-
stuff
of
to talk
news.
about. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. One of the big things that we're going to talk about is Boricua Senpai actually finished Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
So that's going to be one of our main topics. Actually, I think it is the main topic we're going to talk about because I want to know like what his thoughts were, what he thought of. Because we know like in the beginning, for the most, I would say most of Attack on Titan,
Over half.
he watched it because he made a promise to a friend that he would if she watched Naruto with him.
It's like,
And Full Metal Alchemist
And Full Metal
Brotherhood.
Alchemist
So I thought
Brotherhood.
it was an excellent trade.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
1 for 2.
yeah. So
And one was really long.
yeah. You guys skipped all the fillers, though, which is good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to watch fillers.
So I'm interested to hear what he thought of the entire story, things that he liked, things that he didn't like, his the correlations to different like world events that happened. So I'm very interested to see what he thought of. So
Coming up next.
on Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, I want to bring up something really interesting though, and this is actually good for you because I just
Good
read
for
this
you.
today for Mr. Mister. I found out that as of right now, Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire, has in the U.S. has made $167 million.
Good.
Worldwide has made $436 million.
Oh, yeah.
Good job.
And I haven't
job,
even watched
Wookie.
it yet. I need to. But
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, but it's nothing like Godzilla -1.
I don't care. That's fine.
Well, and that's what I was telling your brother. The reason I feel like Godzilla, the reason why I got this much amount of money is because of Godzilla -1. Because of the name and the attention and the recognition. Not everybody who's a Godzilla fan will think, oh, this is something different. This is just a
No, they
I
saw.
don't think so, honestly, because if that were the case, Godzilla -1 should have made a lot more money in the U.S. because of Godzilla versus Kong. Because that one did very well. That one was really good. So I would argue that it's just the hype of the previous Godzilla versus Kong, and there's a sequel to it.
I'd actually side with Paul on that. The idea that -1, because we know in the U.S. most people don't like subtitles.
Don't like
They
to
don't
read.
want to.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear a different
Reading,
language
what
and
is
read
this?
it.
It's in a different
So
language.
I'd say that. I mean, yes, it's riding on the coattails, of course, of the previous one. It did really well, but I think the idea like, oh, we missed out on a Godzilla movie. Now this is one that was actually made for Americans by Americans. We'll go watch it.
Yeah, not to mention like it won an Oscar. So people are like, oh,
-1.
Yeah, Oscar, Godzilla
Maybe this
-1.
has something
Let's
Oscar
watch the
worthy.
American version. But even before this, like people already knew. People already had quite issues with it, with the whole Godzilla running thing. They're like, Godzilla doesn't run. I'm like, did you
He
not?
doesn't run. He sprints. Okay.
He does whatever he did in that movie.
He does whatever he
sprinted,
wants
man.
to. He ran in the one with Matthew Broderick. Which when is he going to make it a cameo? He needs to make a cameo.
But that's 95 Godzilla.
I think
It's a
he's dead in
different
that.
Godzilla.
They should bring it. The multiverse.
No.
Ooh, that would be a good.
He
idea.
already
I
died.
don't mean it
in-
from a multiverse perspective. I just mean in terms of it'd be cool just bring him on screen
Yeah, I
for the
would
sake
be.
of Godzilla.
Kill him off.
No. But
I'd be okay with that.
Dark.
I'm
Anyway.
glad it's made that money. It deserves it in the sense of what, because they're trying, because technically Godzilla vs. Kong, the last one, was the final film that they were going to do. So that's why there was a lot of like questions to be asked. So this one kind of gave you like maybe one answer or a couple answers, but there were still more questions because I know they're going to do a new trilogy here, and
with that universe.
Yeah,
Cool.
I don't know what they're going to do because originally the original plan what they had with Godzilla was they're going to introduce the Pacific Rim universe to it. They could very well bring it back. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna call it right now.
That was their.
They're
That was
gonna take Godzilla to space
There's already Space Godzilla.
again for the remake for the American audience. It's gonna happen.
For the American people.
Yes, I'm calling it right now.
No, I hope not. That's all I can say. I hope. I hope
My
that doesn't
prediction,
happen.
Nostradamus,
Either way, I'm glad.
2024.
I'm glad it is a box office success because I think its budget was like 44 million or something like that.
And people
I think
are
it was
sick of
100-something.
they're obviously sick of Marvel, clearly. They're sick of
They want something
Disney.
new.
They're
for
sick
sure.
of any of those style movies. So
And in addition to that, Monarch helped build Godzilla more awareness for people that are not into Godzilla
I need
or
to
the
watch
expanded
that.
universe as well.
I would say a little bit, yeah. I'm glad it got
Second
got
season?
approved for a second
Yeah.
season. I just hope that Supergirl's not in it. Just stay in Shogun. You good? Well, no. Okay, look, I'll
You still
let me
haven't seen
clarify.
Shogun.
Let me clarify.
But that's why stay in there.
She wasn't a bad actress. Just the way they wrote her sucks. I didn't like her. If they write her better, then I'll be okay with it. I
okay,
just
you don't have an
like-
issue with her, just the way she's written.
Yeah, they made her such a hypocrite, and I was just like, this bitch, just kill the bitch, man. Like, just
Well, you guys are here for
yeah. But I mean, if they make her better, I'm totally cool with it. Just don't make her a hypocrite.
Well, moving along to news that for me infuriated me
Wow.
Yes, let's hear it.
is
What is
we were
bothering
announced
you?
on Monday.
Oh,
We announced
from
that
the shadows.
Keanu Reeves
I'm
the best
Shadow,
actor ever.
the hedgehog.
is going to be
I'm the
Shadow.
ultimate life form.
I gotta
Chaos
point out,
control.
like
That he sucks? Yes,
No,
he
no.
sucks. He's
Last
a
week-
horrible actor.
last week you're like, oh, Sonic is coming. Look at they finished rapping. Oh, this is great. This is awesome. I like the hype was real. And on Monday, I basically the meme of Ralph breaking his hair away. That's
It did. That's what happened to me. It just tore into him like, why'd you do me dirty? You guys have John Wick beer goggles on because he is not a good actor.
I agree with you, and I love John Wick.
He is awesome. You can't deny that he's awesome.
when he has to do
But
action scenes, sure.
My argument has always been is just he's not a good actor in the sense of like
I agree.
acting, but like him moving his body. No, because when people are like,
He's an actor, but he's an actor.
when I've seen online, people are like, well, what about when he does his stunts and stuff and that? I'm like, okay, he's gonna do
That's
his own
acting, right?
stunts. Yeah, so that's why I have to add like when he's doing his lines, he's just he's the same person. And then some people are like, okay, then who are a bunch of bad actors that people liked? I'm like Arnold Schwarzenegger. There was I can't remember the whole list, but there was a lot of people I named off that were all bad actors, but people that are beloved. That doesn't mean they're just because they're bad actors doesn't mean they're bad people or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like Keanu Reeves is a really sweet guy.
You're a bad actor. You're a bad person.
But you know what I mean? It's like people. I don't know. People just have him in rose tinted glasses because he's just such a stand up guy. He's a musician and all this stuff. And
he can sing, right? So he has a voice.
No, he's a musician. I don't know if he can sing.
Plays bass.
I know he plays bass. I don't know if he.
How
can
about you
sing.
take up the bass?
To be honest, I don't know if he does sing and he's good on him, but I don't think so.
He's Johnny
but he's
Silverhand and Cyberpunk. And he did a good
And
job.
I'll say this: to be honest, I don't know about Johnny Silverhand. I'll tell you that much. But everything in the movies he's done has been trash. Like I even Googled or YouTubed Keanu Reeves' best acting moments, and that one made me laugh with how bad it was. So like he's just not a good actor.
I gotta say,
In
I'm
what
not
defense?
defending,
Yes, you are.
but I gotta say this.
No, he likes
It's
it.
still a little bit. I like Keanu. He is the chosen one. Remember that.
No, first of all, it's called He is the One, not the Chosen One. So
He
you
is the
already,
chosen one.
You already know.
To
He's
me,
called,
all right. If people want to call it something else, he's the chosen one to me.
So for what? For what?
All the great movies that we got from him.
Great movies.
The Matrix, Speed.
One of them was good. Of the three, that's 30%.
You know those movies, all those movies. He had great supporting cast members that made him
You can
good.
say about this about Sonic. And it comes to the argument. Are you expecting to have like Academy Award winners to do the voice of like Sonic, Knuckles?
yeah.
I expect to have a competent actor.
you,
Yes.
You know, in that one, what's that one fish movie with Will Smith?
Shark Tale.
Shark though.
I never watched it.
Robert De Niro plays the mafia boss Shark. So yeah.
So you want the same thing for Sonic?
I want an Academy Award winner to voice Shadow.
You know what? He's gonna win an Oscar. I'm calling it. Keanu's gonna win an Oscar.
Keanu's gonna win an Oscar.
Off Shadow?
Off Shadow.
Yeah, I wouldn't place my bets
No
on
Shadow, but an Oscar.
Oh,
And
you
then
mean
you get your...
eventually?
Yeah,
You're huffing the copium, my guy. He's not.
No, but I gotta tell you this. In the past, people were complaining about everything. A great example.
And you know what happened? We changed it. Did we complain about Sonic's
Hold on.
original design?
Sure, that was
Did we
changed.
change it?
Oh, people were shitting themselves
But
over that.
okay, let me tell you this. Like I was
decide.
after it got announced, I was looking online about people complaining about Keanu. I haven't seen a lot. The only complainers, you guys.
I told you.
Because
they have
they're
John Wick beer goggles on.
rose-tinted
Everybody.
glass. It was literally
Yeah, everybody.
Okay,
Yep.
well,
Except for you guys.
Here's the question. I'm not defending him
Right.
either, okay? But what do you expect out of Shadow that
Yeah,
he can't provide?
Let's
That's what I wanna
let's hear
know.
it.
It's just
The shadow on this.
Because I
The
never
thing is,
played
here's
Sonic
the
Adventure
thing.
2. Is that where he
He-
makes his appearance?
Yeah.
so the thing is, he's a well established character, and he's not. Yeah, he's a dark and broody character, but he's not a quiet character. He talks. He can communicate. He does his own thing. So what they're going to do for Shadow is they're probably going to make him a dark, broody character who says a couple of lines.
Yeah, but Dark and Broody,
But he
not
says a couple of
exclusively, but generally is pretty monotone.
Yeah, but he also talks. Like he brings his emotion, because like in the story of Shadow, what he goes through is pretty traumatic. So like, I don't think Keanu can really bring that out.
Okay.
Maybe
I'm
I
just
could
curious
actually
to see
see
that.
that could also be a challenge for Keanu. Hey, you should do something else.
For Shadow,
Good.
Anything for Keanu is a stretch.
Well, and he's behind the camera, like he's not in.
So there will be
his
more
argument-
emphasis
he
on
might
it.
have
I don't
more
know how he
flexibility.
does in Johnny
Who knows?
Silverhands. If he's better at Johnny Silverhands, because he doesn't need to show his face. Maybe he's a good VA. If he's a good VA, then cool.
I have something else to say, but I'll say it after we talk about the next trailer. Whenever we get to it. I'm not
okay.
saying to move on.
No.
No,
that's-
holding
but
my
I was
thought.
going to say something. I'm going to point out that in the past, when somebody is being cast to something else, like let's say Robert Pattinson as Batman or Michael Keaton as Batman as well, people like at the very beginning hate him because they're like they can't act, they can't do anything. But lo and behold, they
Robert Pattinson wasn't hated for being a
People-
bad actor. He was hated
No,
because
he was hated because
he
he was just a Batman.
Twilight. Yeah, 'cause
Sure.
you saw- and so for me, my argument is you can't judge a person until you see them act the role, because the
Exactly.
one person. No. But you can see their history of if they're a good actor. Keanu's just been the whole time. Robert Pattinson had good roles up and down. The only thing that's infamous about him is he was in Twilight. So all people are going to be like, oh, we got the Twilight vampire being our Batman.
I know you haven't seen John Wick, have you?
1, 2.5, and 4.
Then, I mean, you had to see points where I get what you're saying. His vocal projection needs some work, but he does convey sadness
it's a sad
very
guy.
well, actually. And
there's that
anger
sad
pretty
Keanu
well.
meme for a reason.
So I'm just putting that on there.
that's
It's like,
funny.
he does
It's not like,
convey
oh, you feel sad.
he does convey sadness very well across John Wick, and he does express anger really well
But
throughout
it's
John
more
Wick.
silent.
That's a mysterious
silent.
type of
If I
dark
get
character.
something like
But it's
Neo,
part of acting.
Yeah.
if I get
No,
something
but
like Neo,
you
I will be
hear it.
pissed.
And I haven't seen Matrix, so I don't know what
Oh, God.
I don't know what that looks like.
He's like, I'm the one.
I'm the one.
Trinity, no.
No, Trinity.
No.
But
Shut
Trinity
up,
is hot.
Keanu.
like, look, the thing is, I don't want to be in the camp of hating him.
But
for
you
that.
are.
No. But let me explain.
I proudly am. I raise
I
that
don't wanna
flag
be in
every
the camp
day.
because it's a thing that most likely you won't win because really people really adore him, and I understand why they adore him, and I agree with to praise him and see him in a good light. It's just you have to be real about this stuff that he's not the greatest on that. Just that's it. Like
I think you guys will walk away surprised. I'll say that.
I think so too.
I hope I am.
surprised, that's great.
But
Me
if
and Paul.
history
Come on, Paul.
is
Let's do it.
any indication, it won't.
I'll be there to watch it.
Yeah, I'll
For
be
my-
there.
I'm
my
gonna
Keanu.
watch it.
Yeah.
I hope he
think
does
you
a good
guys will be
job.
surprised.
But if I start hearing, "Hey Sonic, I am Shadow, Chaos, Control,
They run too fast.
Maria."
But I'm just saying, like,
shut up, get the fudge out of here. I would
I mean,
demand
it's
it.
just it's
Yeah.
just how that stuff is, and I'm just passionate because I'm just saying his track record shows it's.
But
Well,
other
majority of
passionate
the-
fans are also saying He's good. They approve.
And again, I just told you.
That's what I was
John
going
Wick
to say.
beer
Were you not listening? John Wick beer goggles. That's what they have on.
If you really look at his stuff, he's not that not that good at acting.
He just picked something that he knows he doesn't have to do much acting for, and
Maybe
just
it's
be one
Bolivian
thing.
I know I'm gonna say.
Like if you look
well,
at the John
sorry
Wick
for
series, he
getting
doesn't
a
have that many
job.
lines. No, I'm
Again,
not saying.
great.
I'm not saying.
I'm glad he's a great person.
Getting a job.
Like,
Killed my
look,
dog.
he had 103 lines in John Wick 4. That's it.
You looked that setup?
Huh?
You looked that up?
Yeah. That's nothing.
Yeah, but you should have seen the action. You watched it.
Action, I understand. I'm talking about what he's moving, doing his stuff, stunts and all that stuff. Great at
I'm
it.
just
But
saying, with
him,
all
like,
that action, you're not going to get much lines anyways. That's all I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Now I'm
But
really
it's
looking.
CG.
Again, that's
I want
why-
to hear this. I really am
Shadow,
excited. Like,
Shadow is CG, so it's not like he's gonna do his own stunts as Shadow.
Yeah, and Shadow's a side character, so I'm going to guess he's not going to show up until at least halfway through the movie, if not later.
I don't think he's pretty prominent.
He should be. He should be. He should be throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
because like,
And then
Knuckles
you have
wasn't
Knuckles, you have
introduced.
Tails, you have Sonic, you have Eggman, you have...
So
it's like it's a big cast. He's not going to be the only guy on screen with Sonic.
Sonic and Shadow more. If they do it right, most likely it's gonna be more Sonic, just because that's how it is. But I mean, Shadow's very important to the story of all. If it's gonna be like Sonic Adventure 2, it's gonna be very important to have Shadow involved.
In the game, Shadow really is.
Yeah, but is the movie based on the game?
Well, again, I don't
they're
know.
hinting at it.
They're hinting
Are
at
they?
there
Oh,
is.
I've never
If it
played,
is,
so-
it makes more sense if they do it that way.
it's not gonna be one
I
by
still
one.
think he's
though.
not going to show
It's not
up
gonna be
till
one
half.
to
Yeah,
one.
they're gonna just change.
It's not going to
some
be one
stuff.
to one. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of changes to it. Which again, I don't know what they'll be.
Well, I don't know if it'll be halfway, because
But here's
the end of the second movie, they hint at him.
Sure, but also mean they have to bring it all the
Why
time
would you
in the
hint
movie.
at him? And the logo is two hedgehogs quills. Like one is the blue, one is the black with the red, and we see him halfway through the movie.
I mean, you can say the same thing about the Avengers when they brought the twins. They like prominent, and
Nobody
they
gives a fuck about the twins.
and the
example,
twins were
that's not
within
even
the first
important.
15 minutes of the movie.
yeah, but they weren't prominent the whole time.
They're not.
Yeah, but
part
they're
of
also
the-
It's a
not-
large cast. He's not going to have, even if they wanted to, he's not going to have a lot of lines.
If anything, probably Knuckles will not have a lot because he has his TV show coming out, so he'll probably be on the side. Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey,
Jim Carrey,
which is Ace Ventura.
Might not be a lot in his lines too. I mean, who knows?
Okay, now going to Jim Carrey. Didn't he say that he's not going to make another movie if
Unless
if
it's
money
a good
talks.
movie.
exactly?
Money talks.
So maybe there's some hope. All I'm saying, don't shut your
I don't.
possibilities.
Again, I'm for the movie. I'm
Yeah,
hoping for a lot.
can like
Keanu,
the
I
script.
not.
He can like the script and join. Doesn't mean it means the acting could be different.
I mean, not to mention there's like voice directors, other people that
Whoever the
supervise
voice
all that.
director is, better. Put
Yeah, but you
Keanu
can
in
only
his
you can
fucking
only
place.
ask for so much if they don't know how to do voice acting.
And they have to like audition. So I guess he got chosen for a reason. Maybe there are other people
Sometimes
as
you
well.
don't need
too.
to
Sometimes by
audition.
name.
Sometimes
You don't need to audition sometimes if they know that they want you there.
Sometimes the name itself is going to bring money.
Yeah.
Not that that's the case.
It's
it
true.
might be, but
It's true.
is. Yeah.
Anyway, from
you
one
can do it,
from one disappointing news to another one, we got a trailer
man.
for
This man is sad. Sad Keanu.
Transformers 1.
Sad Keanu.
And what the fudge was this?
You
I'm
just
just
remind me
upset.
of like either Peter Griffin or Homer Simpson have like their TV segment and like complaining about things.
Dude, you're gonna tell me you're excited for this?
Transformers?
Transformers 1.
Before there were Transformers,
Before
which is
there-
basically formers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Trans.
You're telling me you're excited for it.
No.
See, get the fluff out of here.
It looks pretty. I think I'll say that it looks pretty. I think I was right that it was going to be Orion Pax and TX13 or something like that. What Megatron's original name
yeah,
was.
something like that.
So I'm cool with that, but like the way they showed the trailer was such a Nickelodeon kids adventure thing. It was
It felt
like,
very 90s to me, and I actually think that's a plus.
yeah, but it was kind of like
I think that's the vibe. I think
Miss-
that the thing that's missing, or I think that throw people off, is the story itself.
I think
How
Mr. Miss is
that thing
also
addressed.
looking at this because if you look at let's look at the game with the War for Cybertron. Like that one was a very great game, and we're thinking maybe it's gonna be something like this. Like it's gonna be
Dark and
something a little bit darker, a little bit
Okay.
dreary, and not be this cartoony
I don't think so.
thing. Oh, with that obviously that's not what it is.
Right.
And so
it reminded me of Power Rangers. Like, oh, we bumped into Zordon. He gave us our powers to transform. And then
Hey, but
obviously
didn't you
get the one
watch
guy who
Power
becomes the
Rangers?
bad-
And like it?
But look at this.
Yeah,
but look
but
at this. I think I talked with Boricua Senpai about this. Like, if you watch Power Rangers the '90s now, it's still actually like you still like it. It's
Right.
still like, you know what? It's corny. You know it's corny.
Yeah.
But it's still good. But when you watch the Once and Always, whatever that special
Ugh.
they did,
Yeah.
they try and replicate it, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, if they're trying to replicate what they did in the 80s, which again, this seems like it's even a lighter take than the 80s serial, because the 80s was corny, but it's not because they were trying to make it corny. That's just how the writing was. They weren't trying to make it super funny and stuff like that.
On top of that, the original Transformers movie was pretty dark. Optimus Prime
Yeah.
dies.
Right.
And Starscream gets nuked.
So I do feel like the reason they're making this movie is to bring new audience.
Yep.
audiences.
for sure. For sure.
Specifically.
For kids. Swear.
It's not just-
They have Nickelodeon shows for that. You know what they did? They made non-binary Transformers.
They're robots. Who gives a fuck about your gender? Bitch.
No, it's true. That I don't know if you ever. I saw that
No, I
somewhere. Like,
haven't.
so again, if they want that, they have the TV shows they can do.
But
I
because of the
want
movie.
no.
I mean, they did the
No,
Paw
look,
Patrol movie.
I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying it's gonna be. It's not gonna bomb. I don't think. But I
It
just.
might.
No,
This
the
is
way that I
Paramount?
see it. No, the way
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, because Nickelodeon's owned by Paramount.
But it's not Nickelodeon. Diego just said Nickelodeon. It's
Because it just reminds me of
Oh,
Nickelodeon.
okay.
I'm not. Yeah, my bad.
The way that I see it, they're trying to make a new movie for new audiences to bring the hype of Transformers, something different because they already have the live action. They can't do maybe they can do cartoons, of course, but maybe they want something fresh, something that other people who are just growing into the environment of learning about Transformers
The thing is,
can get into it.
I got like
with movies though, I think it's rough with movies because you need to, especially if it's from a what's the word franchise that's been around for decades and people are grown up with it.
I mean, didn't
And
Power
they're
Rangers
part-
the same thing too?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. When you grow up with it, and then you're gonna have those people gonna be wanting to see those type of films, no matter what. Like you know, if they decide to make another Transformers movie when I'm 50 or 60, and it looks good, I'm gonna watch it, even if it's like aimed towards young adults or something. If it looks good, it looks good. But if it looks bad, it's like it's an insult to the fandom of them. Of course, I understand bringing in new fans, but they need to also show like we still want to retain the old fans who.
Yeah, but they do
Well,
that with
really
storytelling. I
Yeah.
don't know what I mean. I'm not excited for it, but I agree with him. I do think they're trying to bring in for kids.
And I tried to maybe break two different movies, one for the new kids, and you get the Transformers with G.I. Joe. So
Well, I think there's a gap. I think there's a gap in the market.
Shut up.
actually. I think that's what they're capitalizing.
I'm pretty sure
that
there is.
a ton of kids' movies aren't really being made.
Yep.
and they're being made very poorly.
Yep.
We might not like the way it looks or sounds or the premise of it,
It's not
but a
for
kid
you.
is going to.
Yeah.
And I go back to the idea of when Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon movies came out. We were kids and we loved it. And there's no way our parents were like, this looks like stupid, is what they thought. They took us anyways because we're kids. And guess what? 20, 30 years later, we're still hooked on that. I think that's how Transformers is going to retain or create
get you there.
a fan base.
I don't know.
So,
I think they would look at some of the Pokemon, the English script, and think that is freaking hilarious.
who?
Our parents. I think if she.
Well,
but-
to
that's
the
a lie.
point,
Your
this
mom would
movie
watch
might
Pokemon
have,
with
like
you.
a couple lines
She
that
would.
I'll find funny. I'll probably
I mean,
watch it, not in theaters, but I'll watch it eventually.
It's funny because I was watching and I was like, again, I don't know the premise, but it kind of felt like they were forced underground and now they're going back up and they're like, oh,
Gurren
look,
Lagann.
yeah, that's
Gurren
exactly what I was
Lagann.
thinking. I was like, this is effing Gurren Lagann and mixed with Power Rangers because they're like, I don't know if it's crystal, but they get something attached to them.
I got you
Their-
this morphine.
their spark. It's not their spark, but it's like, it looked like a spark.
It looked like an Allspark, yeah.
Yeah, that gets to them and now it can transform.
The Mighty Morphin, Gurren Lagann.
Rangers.
Transformers.
But, yeah. I you guys don't like it. You guys aren't the intended audience, in
Yeah,
all
I know.
fairness. So,
That's the sad truth now. After-
yeah,
after,
I mean,
you know-
you're almost 40, man.
well, think about like a lot of the
How dare you?
think of a lot of the movies that are kids that they've geared a lot towards adult. Disney did really good with it, obviously in the 90s and early 2000s with some of their movies, but like the superhero pet movie,
Oh yeah,
I watched it. It was fine, but
Keanu
even
was
as
also
a
in
kid,
there.
Like even
That's why it sucked.
I watched it as an adult, obviously, because it came out when I'm an adult, and I actually tried viewing it from my idea as a kids movie lens, and it didn't fit like a kids movie would, at least not to me. So that's what I mean. I think that they're trying to corner that because it's been missing. In my opinion, it's been. I don't even
I'm
have
curious.
kids, but I think so.
I would like to know if these kids' films have they been successful, like box office successful?
No, that's what I mean. The
Well,
example
that's
of
why.
kids movies have been failing.
That's why they need
or
something.
they haven't cornered kids. So this new TMNT movie, I liked it.
I think that was a good
That's
approach.
not for kids. That's teenagers and older. Is like who likes those the most. A kid might enjoy it, but most kids aren't going to latch onto it.
Yeah.
What are the other ones that Disney has released recently? Whatever. Wish. Bombed. Element is probably
Elemental?
too smart. That one.
Yeah.
Too smart for a kid to like truly enjoy. They might like the way it looks, but it doesn't have that kid feel to it. Where this movie definitely has like a childish feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's right. They're just going to try and corner that market, which is pretty smart because movies make the most money off of merchandising.
But it also comes to realization that the older we get, we're going to encounter more of that.
True.
You know,
I agree. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like,
I just can't think of really good kids movies that have come out recent. Like even Sonic, we just discussed Sonic. Yeah, like you can see it has kid elements to it, but it's not really geared for a kid. It's geared for teenagers and older.
The thing is,
Kitty the Floss.
I think the thing is that makes it different this day and age for us is a lot of the people who grew up with these cartoons and video games are in that field. Like they're producers, directors, they're writers, and they're making this for the people who are our age.
Yes,
like,
and now they need new people. That's what I'm saying. They need new people, so they're now going to corner and target. If this movie does well, I'm going to anticipate a lot of the franchises we love are going to be very kiddie like this. Because I know you mentioned the streaming services,
Dragon Ball
that's
Daima.
but they want to get butts in the seats of a theater because that channels a different memory, a different experience for that generation. I know what you're saying because I agree with you. Our age group and slightly older are now in the positions of power to create the shows we want the way we want to see them. But at some point, they're going to have to veer away from our generation and go to whatever.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, you
Gen
wanna
Alpha
bring-
or whatever.
They
There's
don't
a lot
even
of
have
people
to
into
do.
it.
They can have two different paths.
of
One for the
course.
kids, one for the adults.
But to stay relevant is what I'm
right,
saying.
right. Like Rise of Ronin, like that's going to be R-rated, right?
The Last Ronin, yes.
The Last Ronin, yeah. So
Yeah.
my thing is just it's more like, can you make it look more like a kid's thing? Because it looks more like in between.
I thought it looked very kiddish.
I think we're curious.
I thought it was kiddish.
Oh, okay, maybe it was just.
My issue with this, though, sorry, same with. I don't want to interrupt you. I think you've been trying to say something.
Nope.
Oh, when are they going to start hiring actual voice actors instead of just actors?
Well,
Because I think that voice actors need their moment. They need their money. They need to shine. These actors, I get why they hire famous actors. I get it, but they have blockbuster movies. Let a voice actor step in and actually do their job better than what a normal actor
They
would.
did that before with Disney, right? Disney
You can
used to
pay
do
them
that
less.
all the time with their animated movies.
Yes, and
I mean,
we've
they-
lost that.
Yeah, I mean they did have some, but they were like exceptions. Like some like great, like I mean, The Lion King had James Earl Jones, which I mean I can't think of anyone else being Mufasa and being that
Yeah.
great in it. Like
And the
there's
guy that
always
played
exceptions.
Scar, whatever his name is, Jeremy Al. No, it's not Jeremy Allen. Whatever his name is.
Yeah.
the
I know
guy
you're
from
talking-
Godzilla, he Nick Totopoulos, he was Simba.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his name.
whatever his name is.
Yeah, he was adult Simba.
Yes, he was, and it was good. Like again, it can happen, but.
But
I think more
they
than
need
not,
to.
yeah. But I think more than not, like it's
I
now
think
it doesn't happen.
it'd have to be a niche
Movie.
movie that had like a big name voice actor, like
Or an
Chris
anime.
Sabat, or who's the girl who's in Gears 5 who plays the main chick, the voice actress for her, Monica Rial.
I don't know. Her
Oh
name.
my gosh,
Monica Rial,
no,
the voice actress is
no,
Monica
it's something
Rial.
Bailey,
Oh, Laura Bailey.
Laura Bailey, yeah.
Like if it's a niche movie, but then it says, oh, Chris Sabat, Laura Bailey. Like people who know that will be like, oh
Yeah.
shit.
I just think, look, voice actors are voice actors for a reason. Let
Yeah.
them shine. Let them
Yeah.
give you the Sonic or the what's his name, Shadow that you want.
Yeah, we don't need a K-pop person
I'm
trying
a-
to be one.
It's happening.
We don't
It's
need it.
happening.
I like Keanu, but I'm of the opinion, give it to a voice actor.
Yeah.
I like Idris Elba, give it to a voice actor.
I mean,
I don't know who
sometimes-
Sonic's voice actor is. Is he a famous actor?
He was was he on SNL?
He was in SNL. He was also in Parks and Rec.
So he's a B-list
that's
celebrity.
okay. That's
so
fair.
he works.
That's
for
fair.
He
Yeah.
actually worked for Sonic, which I was
Yeah.
surprised.
Like he works for Sonic on that level because he's a B-list. He's not like
So you could be surprised about Keanu, though.
I'm not gonna be
Say,
surprised.
I'm just
But, I
saying.
mean, Keanu's made plenty of movies.
I mean,
that's all. That's
Again,
my
if
gift.
if I am surprised, I'll be happy. If I'm happy with it, great. I'm just not expecting it.
some actors can surprise you. Like Robert Pattinson was in that one stupid Ghibli movie, but he did really good. He threw his voice really well. You can tell.
I just saw a clip on IG, and this is where I got. It was these two guys that voice a ton of the Disney characters. It's the guy that voices whatever the cow's name. That's like the evil guy for the opposite of Goofy, and the guy that voices Goofy.
Pete?
Yeah, Pete. So it's the guy that voices Pete and the guy that voices Goofy, and the guy that voices Pete also voices Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah,
and that's very, very drastically different voice. So it's like I saw that. Let these voice actors who have excellent change in tonality. Well, not all of them. Chris Sabat's not very good at it. I don't think.
No,
he just has.
He's either raspy
No, he
voice
has-
or
He has one extra one that
he
isn't.
he has the clean deep voice and then the raspy dark deep voice. That's
has-
the only two that he has.
Yeah.
Because he has his Piccolo voice like this, but his Vegeta voice is like
Oh,
this.
but he does Kuwabara too, right? That's the
I
only
loved-
one that isn't.
I loved
is the only
Kuwabara.
different one. That's the only different one.
You're a machine.
I loved it.
Oh,
I
yeah,
loved
but
his
he, like,
Kuwabara.
destroyed
But
his
he's
voice.
one dimensional in that.
Yeah, but he destroyed his voice doing Kuwabara. Where he did an interview about him. Like,
Fair enough.
I'm like, but I love that voice.
But like Nick Kaplan, he does like
Yeah.
Hawkmon. He does. He did one of the voices in Attack on Titan, which we'll talk about later. Mm-hmm. And I, it sounded familiar, but I couldn't pin it, and I had to Google it. I'm like, it's Nick Kaplan. So,
Yep.
Anyways, he
And
does
you were good at no, who knows a Nick Kaplan? There was another
Nick Kaplan.
because he's the one that does Madara, right?
Yes.
No, there's someone
Oh, you
else.
showed me that.
The Bakugo one, because we're watching
Yeah,
an
'cause like
anime.
Connie.
We're watching Gamers, and I never know that the voice act when the voice actor was Bakugo. He instantly like, is that Bakugo? I'm like,
My
wait,
brother
holy
gets
crap,
mad
it
because I'm
is.
good at recognizing
Yeah.
voices.
I never noticed, but I should have recognized it because the way that he yells and the way that he does his like,
I'm like, that's Bakugo.
yeah. I was like,
The main
wow.
guy with the girlfriend.
He doesn't. I don't think he's seen it.
Never mind.
Mr. Miss has seen it.
Not the main guy, but his rival.
The one that has the girlfriend with the pink hair.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
That's Bakugo.
That's Bakugo.
'Cause,
That's-
episode 1 or whenever he showed up, and I heard him 2 lines, and then I'm like, that voice sounds familiar. And then the moment he spoke again, like he got upset, I'm like, that's Bakugo.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was like, dang, you're good at that. But yeah, so
Transformers.
that Transformers,
Robots in
yeah,
disguise.
it's again, hopefully it's good.
if
It does visually look impressive, just like Mr. Mister said. I don't plan on watching it in theaters, but hopefully it
Yeah, I
does
don't
well.
either.
I would like to be wrong. If I'm wrong, cool. That's all.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're right. You're right.
going back to Godzilla a little bit. Godzilla -1 is coming out on Blu-ray May 12th,
May 3rd.
May 3rd.
You're buying it?
Of course.
Blu-ray?
Yes.
No, sorry. It's coming streaming May 3rd.
Still buy it.
So,
I'm gonna buy it twice.
good for you.
Buy it digitally
I
and then
think-
buy
okay.
physically.
Amazon Prime. It's gonna be
not that
Amazon
related,
Prime.
but Dune 2, I believe, is now streaming already.
I gotta
streaming.
watch both
So
1 and 2.
I honestly,
so good.
I know
You should
you'll
watch.
like it.
You might have
You-
questions.
you might be hit
He's
miss.
like, finish the first movie. It doesn't make any sense. Of course, not gonna make any sense. I already know what you're gonna say. You have to watch the second movie.
Why?
And
I
it makes more
have to
sense.
watch the second movie to make sense of the first movie.
Like the first movie, it's basically like a whole
It's
setup.
almost like AOT, if I'm,
Yeah,
just
that's the way
not to
that's-
jump the gun.
and
but
I also
it
mentioned-
fills in some gaps.
I do some similarities in there too, and that's
The
my
only
take
reason
on
why I
it.
want to watch the second one is because there's a TikTok I saw, of course TikTok, but when it's like when the good guy goes bad and it's showing like Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul, he's like smiling and then he goes, I am poetry, and he's like, oh damn, that how he said it. I was like, I gotta watch.
I
this
think
now.
he has a future. I mean, I just
No,
said not
Timothée
to, but
Chalamet, he's a great
he's a good
actor.
voice actor. Like, I think he could be a good voice actor.
Yes,
But he shouldn't be one because he has a lot of money in actual acting. Let the
Yeah.
voice actor
You
shine.
know what I like though? It's funny. Every time I hear that part though, I always think of Obadiah from Iron Man.
That's a good.
Tony Stark
He has a great voice.
built
That-
this in a cave.
That guy's
with a
name
bunch
is
of
Jeremy,
scraps.
right?
Yeah,
he was also the
I don't
big
know his last
Lebowski, right?
Lebowski.
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 Mike Lebowski.
For
He's
the
also in
cinephile, he
The
doesn't
Giver.
know it.
He
I
has
haven't
The
seen the
Giver.
movie.
You haven't
And
seen The
he-
Giver?
What kind of cinephile are you?
And
The
he's
Giver's
in,
a good movie.
haven't
he's
seen
in
the-
Tron.
I seen Tron.
Yeah, he's in Tron. He's the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the book, but The Giver's a good movie.
The on TikTok they made a skit of like him talking to himself, in Tron, but it's what's his name from Iron Man? I just lost the name now.
Oh.
Jebediah.
Yeah, Jerry was like, we were trying to do it, but we couldn't get it. Tony Stark.
Did you just said his name?
I
It's
know,
not
I just
Jedediah.
lost my-
Obadiah.
I said Obadiah.
No, you
Jebediah.
didn't.
I
You
did.
said Jebediah.
I said Jebediah.
As in Jebediah Springfield, you stupid mother truckers.
Isn't
God.
Jebediah also in Digimon? He's like the
He might
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I think so.
I'll look it up after this because I need to look it up.
But nah, you
He's
just
a bad guy in the stupid Try movie.
anyway. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. We don't watch Try anymore. Okay.
Yeah, Try is garbage.
Talk about that.
On that note, yeah, I was
The
gonna
Digimon
say,
movie should be coming
the
out.
season that's with like Davies and all them. They're doing another.
Digimon Try
I'm
2.
just gonna wait. I know you'll watch
No,
it.
no,
I know you'll watch
yeah.
it. So if you guys say it's good, then I'll watch it.
I'm kind of.
Digimon has crushed me time and time again. That
I'm
I refuse
kind of-
to
Well,
watch.
that's why you
Torn.
have to keep the original. Like, sure, I'll give it a shot if it's something new, but if they like mess things up,
It has to do with the Digi Egg. That's all I know.
I talk about the movie, right?
Potential.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got to tell you this much.
They're older too. It looks like Davies looks either they made him look older.
Yeah, he's older.
But I'm pretty sure they're all older
Yeah,
now.
so it should be already coming out on digital or Blu-ray as well.
I think it's coming out. Well,
It's soon.
the Japanese one, but the English one is coming out in theaters soon.
No, it already came out.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that was last year.
wasn't it,
Yeah, because we were planning on.
Because we
was
were
it
going to
like-
go and
oh,
neither
yeah,
of us
it
got to
was.
go. Because I even asked you and you're like, no, I can't go either.
I told you I want to watch this up. Like, oh, you guys want whatever. And
No, we don't watch this.
see,
We're watching a dub.
You don't
Yeah.
like to read.
I
Anyway,
like to read. I love the voices though.
I want to support local English actors. Okay?
Yeah. Paul's like, you know how to read? Oh, you don't like the Japanese? Oh, it's better.
no, but
Let me clear my glasses.
let me actually clear my
Let
glasses
me get
really
my
quick.
Jerry
Let me
curls.
get
Let me
my
look like
glasses really
Asian.
quick. So, but no, I was going to talk about this though. When it comes to Digimon though,
Yes,
I'm
Digimon.
willing to give them a shot if they actually make something new. But if they like disappoint, that's where it becomes a little tricky.
I'm fine with new. I've always said that.
right.
I just
as
it
long as they
needs to
do
be
it
told
right,
well. Yeah.
correct. So, for instance,
That's why
Digimon
Try was garbage.
even though if it was really painful, I think it started really well. The ending is the thing that kind of clashed on me. I watched the whole thing, so I actually can have a
We did. Yeah, we all watched the whole thing.
Not me.
We all did.
Not
like,
me.
all the movie. See, he didn't.
I only watched the third and last
You
one
think your brother watched stuff?
What a waste.
Why did you want the third and last
because
one?
you got me tickets.
See, that's on you. But I
I knew it
did
was going to be
watch
trash in the beginning.
the Digimon anime remake.
And that was good.
That was
No,
garbage.
it was garbage. I don't know why you're trying to get. He's like,
He's like,
No,
yeah, he
no.
gives me hope by saying, but
No, but
that was
I'm trying to
garbage.
build this up, knowing that there are some shows that you actually have to try and willing to watch.
I'm
so you
aware,
can actually
but I've done
opinion.
that now for Digimon a few times, and they've fallen
Yeah.
flat.
They were-
I'll definitely keep you posted
and for the
after watching
25th
this.
anniversary for Digimon.
You know what you did to me, Paul? It's like, you've seen the movie Tangled? You know the chameleon Pascal or whatever it is? You know
Yeah.
how she puts on the crown, he goes, and the it zooms in on him, and he just goes, no. Like, there's like a climax, he goes, no. That's how I felt. You're like, oh, they did the new one. Is it good? No.
Yeah, stop giving him false hope. Okay.
But they made the new one. Is it good? No.
I'll definitely give it a shot. I'll give a review once I watch it.
I might end up watching it because I'm a sucker for Digimon.
Digimon is good.
Yeah.
Just to be good.
Well, okay. We have one more thing we're gonna go over. I was gonna go over.
My Pokemon cards?
Yeah, we're gonna do. Okay, we'll do that right before. But I did want to talk about a little bit. Just a little bit about X-Men '97 Episode 6.
Boring.
I don't know why you think it was boring. It wasn't a follow up to what happened
you
in
can't
Episode 5.
compare anything
No.
with episode 5, though.
No, but it was boring in the sense of like they stretched out that whole episode where they could have cut that episode in half. I understand why, because you're building up for whatever's the next 4 or 3 episodes.
No, the
But they're
last
trying
3
to-
episodes.
Is
The
it
next
3
episode.
episodes or 4
4
episodes?
episodes.
Left? That's what I'm asking. He's trying to be like, well, technically, we're at this episode. We're gonna need this. No, I just need to know 4 episodes left. Yes, thank you. Jeez,
We got
this
some cool
episode.
things.
Shut the fuck up. This episode was just too drawn out. Like they could have cut it in half, and we would have gotten straight to the point. But they're like, I'm gonna be a teacher and eat my apple.
I can't remember. You're gonna watch it.
I gotta say, I really enjoyed this episode. Sure, it maybe pacing could be a little bit different, but
Pacing
even
was
though
bad.
this show itself, I feel like the pace is going really fast.
It is for sure. The entire series of it is going really fast.
Right. So I do feel like that particular aspect when you actually get to see Professor Xavier like being a teacher, I'm like, oh man, I missed this.
You know what I liked is they gave him the respect by still calling him Professor Xavier, even when she's like, "This is my lover, Professor Charles Xavier." I'm like, damn, he still got the professor title even in this world. Damn.
You got respect.
Are you gonna watch it?
I will watch it, but I have the spoiler from the last episode that you
Oh,
guys
okay.
released, so
Well-
it's not a big deal.
This one
I like Storm's thing, it's cool.
doesn't really. It connects at the very end with what happened with Episode 5, but this one basically it confirms what happened to Professor X.
Okay, from the end of the original.
Yes.
Okay.
And it finishes the storyline of Storm and her trying to get her powers back with I forget his name now.
Peglet Pete.
Forge. There, yeah, you're right. Forge.
You know what's funny? In one of the scenes where he's like in the bed, he has a bandage on his robotic leg.
It hurts.
On a robotic leg.
Yeah, it could hurt. What if he has nerves attached to it?
Why would you put nerves there like that?
Because that
Are you
helps
gonna
you.
be like,
why would you give a cyborg fear? It helps.
It could have been structurally compromised, so the bandage actually held it in place.
There you go.
Do you know Luke Skywalker? You know how his hand got cut off, and they used needles to make sure he could feel things.
Why?
That was a bad choice.
Talk to Miles about that.
They
movie
did
flaw.
Yeah, they did some. They changed a few things, which.
What was it? I don't recall.
Well, one of the things they changed is if you've never read the comics, the adversary is not a bat. The adversary that shows up with it. No, the adversary is more
I'm
like
talking about the show. It's a bird. It's not bad.
well, bird bat. It looked like a bird bat. But no, that's not what it's supposed to. That's not what the adversary is supposed to be. It's more like it's like blue.
Or how he would say a ghoul.
Ghoul. So anyway, he's supposed to be kind of blue, not from this world. The way that they made him, I mean, he looks different in different iterations in the comic, but he kind of looks like Native American. He has like a Native American headband and so I was like, maybe you could see why they're like, oh, let's change it. But they made him a bird. And I was like, okay.
Like an owl.
I mean, it
What's
wasn't
your
a huge thing.
problem with the bird?
It wasn't a huge thing. It was just I just don't know why they chose the bird. That's the only thing.
They have to change it.
Well, I mean, if we I mean, I don't know because I don't know like Native American lore on or anything. But if there's anything to do with the owl and what was going on haunting him, there probably is, and that's why they chose an owl.
There might be, but
so if you look into it, I want my bird.
But they brought
Tony
back
Stark.
Jedediah Springfield, yeah.
Obadiah Springfield. Come on, get it right.
But they gave Storm her original comic book outfit now.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
So it looks like, and she's basically now Omega level Storm.
She always has been.
I know, but in the series she hasn't been.
She hasn't unlocked that yet until this point.
Excited for that.
But here's the thing.
She's so scary.
It doesn't there's no real explanation as to how she got her powers back.
Hope.
It was really like a pull out of just the air that it happened. Yeah, it basically was that because like the adversary is coming like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, and she's like, no, I use my
grandpa's
powers.
deck has no weak cards, Kaiba. That's what that was a moment like that.
Basically, she just pulled out Exodia and
she was in a cave.
With nothing but scraps.
Well, like because the beast.
He was in a cave with nothing but scraps.
Shut up! You know what? You're ruining it.
No, I like the reference, Diego. It's
oh my gosh. Well, okay, so.
Oh man.
You lost him.
Yeah, you lost me. Okay, so what happened? Okay,
I'm going to mention something on this. I know that the way that it's told feels very not consistent in a sense, or feels like
it just went back and forth too much.
Right. I mean, to me, I don't know, the way that I interpret this episode, that particular scene is just basically her struggling mentally with all of this, rather than actually realistically happen.
Well, you know what I think might have happened was I think her powers came back when she was in that machine,
right?
And I think she just didn't trust herself because she was
right.
She believed it, and and then when she was told the deceit that what's his bucket Pete, Pegleg Pete, what is his name?
Forge.
When he told her about what he did, like she kind of like, oh, I don't trust you, so she kind of like had no faith in that machine, and then her trying to awaken her powers back up throughout the whole trials helped her, and I think
because there's a particular point that she even says like, I wish I could be human for a bit, like I did a couple episodes before, right? And this is basically what she got in the sense, and I see her this episode to be her confronting all her fears of what happened, like trying to cope with trauma in a sense. That's why, like, if I try to take it literally, it doesn't make too much sense. I think it's mostly like what she said.
The thing is, her hair grew.
Magic.
See, no, again, it doesn't. I mean, the shot that she got doesn't. There wasn't a mental block that had that, and it wasn't. Beast confirmed that on a molecular level, her powers are gone. on
That's
a
what I'm saying, the
molecular level.
machine-
So it wasn't like
Sure, but then again, she went into the machine.
Yeah, I'm
Right,
saying.
but we
I'm
don't
pretty
even know
sure-
if that's supposed to.
but I'm pretty sure the machine did work.
Exactly.
Or,
It was basically her mental block after that.
yeah, because she didn't. Because one, she was like. Because remember, she said she originally wanted to be like a human to see how it is to just be a regular human, and then her having that possibility of getting her powers back is frightening because just like getting all that responsibility back is something. I mean, it would be hard no matter how big of a hero or heroes you could be. I think it would just be terrifying to get it back. You know what I mean?
And interesting enough, like somebody pointed this out to me, what she goes through is kind of very similar to what Xavier is going through. They get into a particular scenario in which they decide whether or not should I continue being with the X-Men or should I just quit and move with my life, right?
Yeah.
But in this particular episode, those particular scenes,
They line up.
yeah, they got to the point like, you know what? My people need me. I need to go, right? So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens in the next few episodes. I'm excited to see what
Yeah,
happens.
I think there's going to be a lot of cool things. I heard that episode 8 is going to be a big one.
Captain America,
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
I mean, I would
Coming out of
love
the
to have
cave.
all of that.
Ting.
Really random. Something that I actually also find out that what Disney is doing. And I don't know if you guys heard about this, but
No.
Disney, in addition to having the Disney, the application Disney Plus, they want to incorporate Disney channels in Disney Plus.
Yeah, no, it's stupid. We're going back to TV. I hate this.
No, don't do that.
Right?
Because then they're going
What's
to
the
be like,
advice you have for everyone?
I don't remember.
It's Disney. What do you-
Oh, rob them. Rob them blind.
So,
You know, an inspiration was Robin Hood.
Yep.
Yeah, just
Anyway.
rob them blind.
sure.
Just
Yeah,
rob
but
them.
yeah, I think that's what's happening. I don't know
Fuck you, Disney.
what they're going to do, how's it going to look like, but those are what the rumors are saying. So.
I'll just rob them. It's okay.
You're ready to.
Well, yeah, you
Good.
do. Anyway, so that was episode 6. Great episode. Can't wait for next week for episode 7.
Speaking of the mutants, do we want to say the thing for next week or no?
Oh yeah,
I know
actually,
we're missing someone, but respectively speaking, there could be, I guess, only maybe 2 or 3 other layouts. It would be me here.
Yeah,
Diego here.
I'll
Okay.
have you explain it because he came up with this idea, and I thought it was really cool. So this came from listening to the previous episode.
Previously on X-Men.
We were talking about when you were talking about the whole mutant thing. If you want to be a mutant.
yeah.
So
I already talked about this
Yeah,
too,
so he came up with an idea, and so yeah, go ahead and explain before we go on to the main topic.
So my idea is we would essentially have someone assigned to us, and we would have to create their mutant powers. It can be idealistic. It doesn't have to be realistic. It could be crazy powers. And an example I'm going to use is shout out to your number one fan,
Hentai Paul.
Hentai Paul, okay? So base it off of either their looks or a mix of anything. Their looks, their personality, their
interests.
behaviors, their interests, their skill sets, anything that you can, how you perceive them, just it has to be something exclusive to that person or something that coincides with them. So Hentai Paul, if you don't know what hentai is, I'm not going to explain it, but
Look it
most
up.
people know what it is. So I say if for Hentai Paul, these are the powers I would assign him. He would have, I'm just going to call it depth perception, where visually he can automatically calculate the width, the height, and the depth. Like any 3D dimension, he can tell you exactly right out the gate what it is. So that could be useful in strategic
AKA
battles.
measurements.
Yeah. But
Measurements,
yes,
yeah.
to the point, because, you know, when you think of hentai, you think of big
Oof.
chests, big thighs, big booty, and that's like a big, like, measurements. So, cool. That'll
He knows the
translate.
exact numbers.
Shout out to our number one.
He knows that, but hey, that would be effective in battlefields and strategies. And then the other one is I kind of use, you know, hentai also has the idea of outfits. So he would be able to manipulate the very nature of the fabric. Not like Best Genius on My Hero, where he just physically controls the movement of it. He could change leather to cotton, linen to spandex, whatever he wants to. He'd be able to do that,
Okay.
which could also
He'd
prove
have a
effective in
symbiote
battle.
Clothes.
Symbiotic code.
Yeah, but I'm saying he could control
clothes?
any fabric he wants to, not just his own.
Oh, okay.
Anyone's. So, like in a battlefield, let's say if you're in Russian winter in World War II and the Germans are invading, he's like, okay, cool. They're just going to have linen outfits and they'll freeze to death. That's pretty effective.
That's
super
cool.
effective.
Okay, so
That's like the idea. So,
how are we gonna do this? This is your idea.
that's why I said, like, we're missing one, but I don't think it's a big deal because we always know kind of where everyone sits when there's 5 of us. But just clockwise, whoever's next to you, So this way would be.
So I get
What how to
Vaporeon.
get this guy?
I'm not going to do a
First
random
of all,
generator.
you're gonna
You're
get
either
Shark.
get
No,
me,
you're gonna get Mr.
Diego
Mister.
or
Yeah.
Shark King.
I think if we do
you
our
gotta be
original
nice.
seating, if we do
You
original
gotta be
seating,
nice.
Mr. Mister's gonna be right there. So you're gonna do Mr. Mister.
You're gonna be
Then
nice.
I would be here.
Yeah, so then Mr.
And then
Mister's gonna
Shark-
have Boricua Senpai. Boricua Senpai is gonna have
Shark
Shark
King.
King, and Shark King's gonna have me.
Okay.
So
You
I
have to
get
be
you.
nice.
Okay, so you get Mr. Mister gets me, I get Shark King gets David, and David gets Paul.
Are we there
Or
right now? Or
Japoria.
we're actually gonna have
No,
some
this
time
is
to think
next
about
No,
it?
for
Okay.
next week. Yeah, you
All right.
guys will have time to
Like
think
Shark
about
King's
it.
not here.
A sneak preview of the previous episode.
So I think an idea was also like to have everyone do for everyone, but it's like, if it's
It takes
one
long.
person, is gonna be you have more time to think on just one person.
All right.
You know
Yes.
what I would like, but you know,
We don't care because it's not about what you want.
I want to. Okay.
It's what Vaporeon wants for you.
What he's gonna give you?
Yeah, what he's gonna give you
Maybe he'll give you scraps in a cake.
Tony Stark.
without Tony Stark's brain.
Uh,
Okay,
that
so
was
the-
it. Yeah. That'd
Okay.
be kind
Okay,
of a fun-
we'll definitely.
that's
segment.
gonna be fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's go on to our main topic here. Well, actually, sorry. Before we go, we're gonna have Vaporeon actually open.
Oh
up.
yeah.
He got 2 Pokemon
Booster packs.
booster packs.
packs.
And he got them at the
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven gas station. The last
Which
2 cards.
I didn't even know they sold them there.
Yeah, there
Next
were.
to the cigarettes.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this one, remember, I think is it just 1 card or 2 cards into the
2 cards.
2 cards.
2 cards you have to put in the back.
But you got to remove the promo card
Yeah,
thing.
there you go. That's it.
Let's see how he does. Let's see how he does. Okay, so remove that one, and then put 2 of them like that.
And it should be an energy card in the front. If
And there should be an energy card in the front. Is it?
No.
What is it the rare?
No, it's just a regular Pokemon card.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you don't go from the back. You go from the.
Right, I'm gonna
There you
just
go.
show in here. Oh,
That
there
is.
it goes.
Yeah,
there you go.
that's-
No,
he
I
had it,
switched
he
it. I
swapped
switched
it,
it.
he's-
Oh, yeah, just swapped. Okay, swapped it.
So
Okay.
got energy card.
Oh no, he did.
Oh, great. Dang it.
That was it?
Oh yeah, I think that was it. That was
Also just the one from the back then?
yeah, I think so. That was Saturday.
Oh, so but you could have something behind it though.
I don't think it is though.
So it's just one then. Okay, I don't know what that is.
That's Spinda.
Spinda. This is
Tinka, Tink. Yeah.
Tanuki.
Very steel type. Very cool
still.
Pokemon.
It's a great strong Tandemouse.
Dead mouse. Dead mouse.
Tandemouse is good. What are you talking about?
I got
It was pretty good.
Masquerade.
Sorry, you guys got shinies and I didn't. Okay, my bad. I'm so salty.
If you got a gold,
Oh,
if you
I
got
got
a
an
gold
energy.
card. I see a gold
yeah, he has a
border.
gold
If you got a
card.
gold card,
Oh, I
that's
think
a
it did.
great. Gosh, that'd be so. Cyclizar. Okay, good.
Garchomp.
Oh,
Garchomp. Okay, here it comes. Ready?
What
Whoa!
did he
Palafin?
pull? I can't even see it.
Palafin.
Palafin. He got the terrestrialization of
I
Palafin.
told you, Paul, that was going to be good luck.
That's
Because
awesome.
these were the last 2 packs at 7
No, wait, that's Garchomp. What are you talking about,
Oh, I
Palafin?
don't know. I can't see from here.
I can't see it.
Oh, Garchomp. There you
I'm
go.
looking
Garchomp.
at
That
the
one's.
camera.
You got
I
a
think
gold
that's a
border.
really. I think that is a very, very ultra rare one.
Ooh. Okay.
Gold border ones? Yeah, they're pretty
Wait,
rare.
you have to ask Shark King, but
Yeah,
I'm
Shark
pretty sure
King.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Let's see it. Okay, now gonna.
As he's opening up the second one,
More pack.
me and Shark King are just doing our own Radical Red Soul Link. That's going pretty well. We have 2 gym badges down. Now I think we've beat 9 mini bosses, so I think we have 8 or 9 tokens.
I know you've used at least one because you
Token?
lost one Pokemon against Misty.
We haven't used it yet, though.
Oh, you haven't used it,
because we have
okay.
enough Pokemon that we decided not to
You
use
just put
it.
one in the back. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one put in front. Okay.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
If it's the energy card, then
If it's the
you're
energy card, then that's the only one. Is the energy
Yep.
card? Okay, we're good now.
There you go.
Okay.
We'll up to that.
But we're not streaming it. We're just doing it for fun.
good. When are you guys doing it? What days?
Just usually Monday afternoon, Tuesday, and we did Thursday as well.
Let me know and I'll tune
Okay.
in to watch.
See that one?
All right, ready? We got your card.
Steel. Trubbish.
Trubbish.
I got
Trubbish.
garbage. Literally garbage.
Hey, his shiny is cool.
Crystal.
Crystal.
Crustle is cool.
Onyx.
Onyx.
I'm looking. I can't even see it.
I know it's with an I, but every time I think Onyx, I want to put a Y, and I'm like, I know that's wrong.
I got. Oh, I don't even know what this
Riddle.
is.
That's
Really?
how. That's because that's the correct spelling of
Yeah.
Onyx.
I got a trainer car. I got.
Steve, what is that? Miss, what is that?
Steenie. Semi-poor.
Water monkey.
What's in there?
A trainer car.
Rika.
The last one. Oh wait, there's a couple
Reverse
more.
hollow.
There's a
Tech. It's just a
Trainer card.
trainer card.
Gamma Shield Evolution. Oh, what is this? Oh, the Brute Bonnet.
Ooh, what is this?
I don't know. I
Sure,
need
that one. I don't know what that one is.
Here.
Mister.
Brute Bonnie. Oh, it's that mushroom Pokemon ancient form. Shroomish.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Breloom?
Well, I think you got a gold one. So
Yeah, it's I
talk
got an ocean one.
Talk to Shark King,
and I got a gold one.
and he'll tell you the price of that one. 'Cause
Sweet.
the gold ones are well, actually
I don't
no.
think they're
Some of the
expensive,
gold
though.
ones, some of the ultra rare ones aren't that sought out for some reason.
No,
but it
it's just,
depends. I don't know.
It's just the popularity of the Pokemon. That's why. So if you like I said, not like what I said, but the ones that are going to be popular always will be Charizard, Mewtwo, whatever special Pikachu version they have, and Lugia. If whatever any of those four, those are going to be making money.
Slabaho.
Those shit compared to the cards on
It's
that.
true. Anyway, okay,
Cool. There we go.
cool.
Here's
Alright,
my code. Here's
so-
the code. I don't even know you guys want.
Don't show it. They'll scan it. Anyway, so I did want to talk this main topic about Attack on Titan. We've talked about Attack on Titan many times, but
Really?
I know. But this is the first time we're actually going to talk about it with in full with Boricua Senpai because he has watched the entire thing now.
Yep.
He had started it, I think, a few years ago to attempt to watch it, but I think he got maybe a few episodes in, maybe the first season in, possibly, and just dropped it. Just
Correct.
he didn't care for it, which is fine. But then he did watch the entire again because of an agreement that he had with a friend. And so now I want to hear your thoughts on the show, what you thought was really good, what you thought was not good. And again, you said you saw some parallels with maybe like things that happen in the real world that Isama might have had influence from. I want to hear what your thoughts were on this show.
Okay. It's not good up until I want to say episode 5 or 6 of season 3. Basically, the turning point. This is spoilers, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just in case. Okay.
Okay,
But
yeah, you're fine.
when they start to expose within the wall, like how the government is behind certain things, and then that merchant's son, I forget his name, but he like helped them record those people, like the scouts or whatever. Not the scouts, the police, the inner wall city police. Where
Yeah.
they're like, oh, there's conspiracies, and so they're starting to expose it. So because I'm not going to say I'm fully anti-government, but I definitely don't trust the government type of thing. Those storylines always get me because if it's done correctly, and as you'll see when I talk about world events, there's constantly repetitive historical events, and that's exactly what his approach was. Isayama's approach in this show. I guess the manga's slightly different, but I'm only talking about anime. So if you have issues, anyone that's listening, I've only watched the anime. His overall theme is human nature always rears its ugly head when someone has ultimate power. Whether that's a group of people, whether that's a singular person in power, that is a theme that rears its head, and that's why I think it gets good in season 3, episode 5 or 6, whatever that happened. I still think 1 and 2 seasons they drag their feet. It's just shock value of deaths and violence. Okay, cool. Not for me. Because of those it doesn't give me anything to look forward to. It's just very present in the moment, which cool, that's fine. That works for people, not for me. I wish that would be a little bit different, but I understand why he didn't do it. I would just prefer give me something to latch on to that I can look forward to in the future. So I'm not going to say it loses. I guess it loses points. If I didn't make this promise with my friend, I would have dropped it again, right? Like I fully confidently would have dropped it. I'm glad I stuck it through and I made a promise to watch this one because I thought the payoff was incredible. Now, season 3 to 4, phenomenal. Excellent writing, excellent progression. As I watched it, I also thought of how unfair some anime fans are with like animation and what they cry about and complain. Like, come on, guys! Like,
Yeah, I want to hear that.
shut up! Like, I didn't view any issues with it. I know that we talked about season 4. Season 4 had a far grittier feel to it,
A new
not
studio.
just in the story, but also the look of it.
Yeah.
I thought it lended itself well to the story, and it actually worked perfectly with the story. Some people didn't like, and that's
Agreed.
fine. You didn't view me as like the people like, this is awful, they need to fucking fix this. Like, those are the fans I'm talking about. So now we see the corruption within this power, and then we see these parallels. I'll talk about the parallels, I guess, now at this point. As we were even watching it, my friend would always ask, because she knows I love world history, and Eldians felt like Jews to me as far as the way they isolated them. They put armbands on them to identify it, and the more the story progressed, the more they actually didn't resemble Jews. There's elements of Jewish history with them, but then it was the Paradis Island. Then I found out that I guess he just flipped the world map upside down, and that's like the tail end of Africa, and that's Madagascar, which when my friend told me that the world was upside down, I'm like, all that does is confirm my theory more. So in the 1940s, so this was like right before World War II, the German party, Nazi, what is it called? Schuppenstapels, the double S flag.
Yeah.
They already had plans in place to relocate Polish Jews, any European Jew really, over to Madagascar and isolate them on that island. After they studied the island, they felt that not very many Jewish people could have lived there, and then eventually World War II started. So there's like that parallel. So, okay, there's the element of Jews that the Eldians are part of. But the Eldians are also the master race, because they're the superior race as far as genetics go, because they're the ones that can obtain the Titan power, right?
Right.
And so they try to militarize them. So then I thought, it seemed like, I don't know if you guys know Idi Amin. He was a dictator in Africa, and he caused the extermination of the Acholi and the Lango people, because there was I forget his name. I think his name was Obote or something like that. Obote. He was a military guy, really buffed up the military there, and a lot of them came from those two tribes. So when Idi Amin stepped in place, those tribes were rival. He decided just to exterminate them. And he bombed them. It's like he's one of the worst dictators literally in recent history. It's just kind of a history thing that's brushed over. So, and he employed some of them in the military. And that's where I'm like, okay, now Marlians seem kind of like the dictatorship that Idi Amin had, where if you're part of the military, we'll kind of save you, but they had no real intentions on doing it, right? The exception is the Tiber family, because the Tiber family truly excelled, but that was like the one exception that there was. Everyone else was still expendable. Yeah, they could grace into the Marlian territory, but they would never be equals, right? And now when you view that they are a master race, I think that's where he's trying to point at like neo-fascism, right? Because neo-fascism is the idea of, unfortunately, I don't want to make this political, but this is how he wrote the anime. How people are trying to erase whites. At least that's how I view it. This insane white guilt that they're pushing, right? That they have to feel guilty about being whites, that they have to renounce being white. Like when they started doing all these critical race theories and things like that, I'm like, this sounds absurd. It's like the complete opposite of what should be happening. That's what they're doing to the Eldians. Like the Eldians, they fear the Eldians, so they're trying to minimize them by having them self-suicide. And the reason you can't say Eldians are Jewish is because the king actually isolated them, not the Marlians, right? Because the king's like, nope, I'll take over here. And he's the one that said we'll self-implode, basically. His idea was we will just kill ourselves on this island. So those are like, it was cool to see how he played with, they're not, like, no side is truly completely at fault. They're both at fault for something. Like they were
reacting to what's happening around them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and there's more, and I'm not going to bog you guys down with like the military tactics or things, but there's the Treaty of Versailles right after World War I. How, okay, the Germans now have to give up a lot of their land, and now they're sanctioned, and they don't have like certain technology or certain resources that others would have. And then I think this came down to the Ottoman Empire as well, that I thought of, with now that Paradis, because they were isolated, they had resources that the rest of the world needed. So now they wanted to go back to Paradis to get those resources. So it's like all those things. The Armenians, unfortunately, also experienced a pretty massive genocide, right? They lost over 1 million people. So all those fascinate me, because I can tell Isayama paid very close attention, and he included those elements with small storylines with different people and how it worked. Because then you had Gabi, right? Gabi is, she knows she's an Eldian.
The best
She wants to revoke her. You like her?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, my friend hated her.
I hate Gabi. I hate Gabi.
I didn't like her at all. And is it because she killed Sasha?
Yes, and that's
fair. That's fair.
And there's just the way that she's her entire character. Again, it to me was a worse version of Eren, and I hated that.
Yeah,
and that's what made me hate more. And I know why people didn't like Eren in the beginning, or even all throughout, because of how reckless he was and how emotional he was. Gabi was, to me, was like 10 times worse because
she also young?
was I don't care. So was Eren.
yeah. So that was really cool. And I think that's enough for the war / culture.
Right, you can definitely say that like Isayama has been influenced by like based real life events and like kind of like transition.
It's so well written. I refuse to believe any of that was coincidentally written that well.
Oh yeah,
if that makes sense.
I definitely agree.
I'm of the opinion he cracked open a book, or at some point in life his did, and he's like, I'm going to make this specific event be incorporated into the story. So not like that wasn't one historical event. It was an amalgamation of several that he decided, I'm going to take the worst parts of this and include it in the story to make it like the most intense thing.
See, I'm glad you actually pointed out because I'm not a full history buff, but I recognize certain elements.
It fascinated me, man.
And when, for some reason, I actually thought this is a show that you will actually enjoy.
It fascinated me
quite a bit. Even before, like you were telling me, like I stopped watching Attack on Titan. Like, no, you should. I think you will like this quite a bit. And I'm glad that you actually were able to pull through all of this and be able to see some of the things that were written with real life events. Yeah, it does definitely.
Yeah. Then he plays well with the concept of tribalism, right?
Yes.
Parodies. The Eldians go to Marley undercover, right, and they taste ice cream for the first time, right? And then you have Gabi and Falco who end up on Paradis, and then they're adopted by the family of Sasha. And then Gabi starts realizing, like, she's made sure these people are the most evil, the most vile, corrupt. They call them monsters, right? Like devils is what they call them.
Yeah, because the way that they were actually raised.
And she sees how they treat them, and then the idea of, well, that happened to us. Like, why is that part of our... What would they write? Like, why are we paying for it now? Type of thing. The idea of like, how much burden can you carry from something that happened hundreds of years ago? Type of situation. And so it's kind of, I think that's the idea of when you really get to know someone and kind of put aside the political nature of things, and you see like their true nature, you tend to like people better. You won't like everyone, but you'll see parts of them that, okay, they're not as bad as I initially thought they were. And obviously, as the story develops, you see that gets kind of eradicated, right? The idea of them being complete devils.
Right. Because you can see that with Gabi, her whole progress from what she... I mean, of course, people hate her, but I do feel like in the story, you can actually get to see her progression as a person from where she started with that propaganda, with that ideology of what, other people outside of her country or her area are. And as she transitions into being... into the real world per se.
Yeah.
She gets to open up her eyes. She still has to hate because of, all the past history and all the stuff. And I can see why people hate her so much.
Yep.
But it's also justifiable because of her experience as a person and how she reacts. Some of the decisions that she makes, it's really annoying, but I do feel like it definitely tells a story of what she has been influenced.
Yeah.
On her path, so.
Yeah, and then just the idea that with the rumbling, right? Eliminate the population, and then that eliminates the problem in and of itself, because then there's no longer any sort of ill will that's held against you, because no one knows the history anymore other than whoever's left, and how their memories were wiped. So that wasn't the idea initially to begin with of the Eldians. They didn't know that there was an outside world. So that's like government control, right? Like all those things are so cool. So I'm trying to think. I think that's enough on the parallels of... I'm trying to think of what else now to talk about. I guess we could talk about
characters. Who was your favorite character overall?
I didn't like many of them, but I think that was, after watching the whole series, his focal point was the story, which is why the story is so good.
Yep.
The characters carried the story, but the story is the goal. Hanji was my favorite by far.
Okay.
Hanji was my absolute favorite, followed probably by Irvin and then maybe Sasha. And then after those three, I kind of am indifferent to most characters. Hanji, because I think, and this is my speculation, maybe I sound like those English teachers. Oh, if the drapes were blue, that means that they were depressed. I might sound like that right now, but Hanji always represented the thirst for knowledge.
Yeah.
And so she was the suspense of a bridge between the right and wrong. Like, she didn't view necessary things right or wrong. It was just what's logical, what makes the most sense. And that's what determined her moral code or compass. And you see that for sure at the end when it's, what's the Marleyan that hates them, but he's like, can't, it's not McGath, right? What's his name? Is it McGath? He's the guy that Nick Kaplan voices. But it's when Levi's off, like,
I know
fucked up, and so it's like, because he starts arguing with John, and Hanji, I realized this towards the end, where that's why I probably liked her so much. She understood, like, what's holding a wrath from either side going to do? What is the reality of the circumstance, and do we have to even put ourselves in this circumstance? Like, you even see her, that personality surface with Titans. She didn't hate Titans, even though they were the cause of all the death, right? She viewed them like, no, we need to understand them. And then when we understand them, we'll know what to do. So she was kind of the unbiased, stoic concept of military, right? So I think all of them surface. Eren is the genocidal, most aggressive, and that's the side of Hitler. I don't know if I'm okay to say that. He's the man with the mustache. He embodied that concept. And then you have Mikasa, which is the arm of the military, like, okay, or Levi, they're the strong aspect of it. Like, they'll just do what they're told, and they're physically the biggest threat. Armin is, I haven't decided what I felt Armin is, because people say voice of reason. I feel that falls on Hanji more than Armin.
I think it's more strategic. That's the way that I see it.
Armin, no, I actually just think he's more political. Because you know how at the end how he gets his tongue cut off or shot so he can't speak? That's like his power. So he's like,
okay.
So they remove that from element from him. So he's like the political side of things.
Shot?
It's when they're getting on the boat and they get attacked by
the Jaegerists. And they shoot him in the face.
It's to
and
stop him
specifically his tongue gets shot and he can't talk, and that's his strongest weapon.
Stopping him from transforming.
He's the ambassador.
But he does represent the good side of politics, the way politics should be. But when they're in that dream suspense state where he's with Eren, and then he finds out he knew the plan all along, that his memory was wiped, and they're in the pool of blood, that he stood with Eren. So it's like he could be corrupted. That's why Hanji is my favorite, because she could not be corrupted, because she always knew it has nothing to do with sides. It has everything to do with truth. And then Irvin, obviously, he's the strategic commander leader that did stand for good, and he was like the leader that anyone would die for, and that's exactly what happened against the Beast Titan. I know that's like a part, like that part was pretty cool. Like when he's like, "Oh, just keep charging." Like I got hyped.
Yes, we're going to die, but we're going to do this for the greater good, and he just convinces everyone.
Yeah, even is it Flacco?
Waka Flocka.
It's the guy with the ugly hair. Thankfully, they changed it in season 4. But
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
is it Flacco? Because I know there's Falco the kid, but I'm pretty sure his name is Flacco or Flacco, whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember the name.
So he is the most reluctant, and he still does it. He ends up surviving. Ironically, enough, like that's another cool thing that he picked the guy who should least deserve to live. Right in retrospect to it all, and he survives and carries on kind of the idea of we need to get rid of these people because of what they've done to us. Whereas Erwin didn't have that mentality. And I think it'd be cool if I would ever ask, I've asked for a lot of things for Kishimoto. I'd only ask one thing for Isayama is he should go right back to that point in time and pick Erwin over Armin. I think that would be a really cool.
I was about to ask. I guess
really cool break off.
I guess on your particular opinion, who should deserve to actually had the opportunity
to have been the Colossal Titan?
Who deserved it more?
Yeah.
Looking back, retrospectively.
This is tough because they both stand on similar moral grounds. One is just a far better leader because he's willing to do what is necessary while still having a voice of reason. So I guess to answer, I'd be Erwin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because I remember when I was reading the manga many, many months ago, when that happened. Mm-hmm. When I lost I was connected to Armin quite a bit. I think he's like awesome dude. But when that happened, I was like, no, he can't die. And then you get the choice.
And then Levi had had this serum, and I was like, I know who Levi's choosing.
Of course, and I probably would have gone with Levi. I get why Aaron picked it, and then now that you find out later that he's the Attack Titan and knew the events of things and what he wanted, it means that, at least I interpret, this is where it gets really cool too, kind of the idea of he now knows what the future entails, right? So he had to have Armin do it, because if Irvin did, I don't know if he knows the outcome, because I know it specifies they don't know all the details, they just see some future events. Who knows what Irvin would have done, because he's far more politically inclined, and maybe they could have reached some sort of plea deal with Marley. And that's the thing, is that Aaron only knew what he knew, but I think it was blinded because of his will, or the will of Ymir, right? And Irvin doesn't have either of those. Mm-mm. And it shows that Irvin has it strong enough strength for it. And I just recently watched one of those bonus episodes where it's that Titan where the scout is like taking notes.
Yeah.
And he resists eating her, and then he just decides to bite her. So if someone that's that, what do they call them? Abnormals? Well, they're not abnormals. Those are just pure Titans, right?
Yeah, but they're abnormals.
Oh, they're abnormal. That's right.
Yeah.
So if an abnormal can resist that, you would think someone as strong, level-headed, and smart as Irvin would have easily been able to reject any will of any previous colossal Titan and done his own thing.
Yeah.
That's just theoretically, obviously. That's where it gets kind of cool to kind of think about that.
Right. You should read the novels. They have a couple novels as well.
I might.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff. So there's some stuff that I don't know if you caught on, or you're like, I wonder why this happened. Because I think you were more engrossed in the story than, like you said, the characters, which you might not have noticed. But there was one thing that wasn't confirmed to Aaron until Sasha dying, which was that he actually thought that he could change the future. If you remember at the end, he's like, I've seen this, I've replayed this millions of times, like trying something new, and nothing ever changed. Well, he did try and do something new, and he wanted to know if he could actually change the future, which is why, like, he knew Sasha was going to die. He knew what Connie was going to say to him, but he wanted to see if he could change something about the future, and he tried to change what Connie said to him, how she died. What was like her last words, and
that's why he laughs.
And that's why he laughs, because he's like, I can't change. Everything's going to be the same. The same time that he laughed when he was crying at the end of season 2, when they're all about to die. It's like, nothing's changed. We're still the same. It was just interesting. Like you see this, and again, they don't know this. They're like, he's just gone crazy. And so I just thought, I don't know if you caught on that. I was like, that. I just remember I was watching. I was like, that is actually pretty smart.
I didn't catch on to that. My friend is the one that had to point that part out, because she said the same. She says, I know you're more paying attention to the overall story as opposed to each character, which is another cool thing. That does provide crazy replay value, I guess, for seasons 1 and 2. Not enough for me. I'm not going to go watch those. I'll probably watch the 3 and on, just to kind of pick on, again, more of the story and like the real world applications of what went on. And then there's like the big question, right? Like, was Aaron justified in his approach? And I don't know if that's a big topic, and that's something I think the four of us could discuss, right? Like, because that's what everyone asks. Oh, do you feel he was justified? It's like the decision Itachi made. Is he justified in what his actions were based on the outcome?
I want to say yes. And the main reason why I think of this is because he needed to find a way to get out of that particular loop. The way that I see it, and the way that he was explaining, like, everything keep repeating. He wanted to break away of that particular loop by making that sacrifice so people can have the freedom that they deserve.
I think it's hard because
would you not argue that a lot of people that died, most people that died, didn't deserve that fate?
Probably.
I think he's not, because of what he says at the end, because he says he's done this simulation millions of times. He's tried different things. He's going to get the same outcome. I think his biggest thing was he wanted his friends to survive. He wanted the best for his friends.
Yeah.
And so he's like, this is the way for my friends to survive what I want them to have. I'm pretty sure there would have been a less bloody way, and he would have had more friends. Like, he knew Sasha was going to die no matter what. He probably knew that if he chose another way, Armin or Mikasa or both of them were going to die.
Yeah.
More people would have been casualties. Yes, the war would have been better, but they would have been, the ones that are dead and not the rest of the world. So he made the decision, a selfish decision, to say, no, I'm going to have my friends survive and accomplish
all of this.
this quote unquote peace.
People have to die
for long. He's like, and to kill what was it, 80% of the population.
Yep.
Something like that. So it's like he knew something had to happen. He chose probably the bloodiest way to get what he wanted, and so it's like it's not justified because there was a different way that had maybe less casualties, but he chose the one that ended up with none of people that he cared, or the least amount of people that he cared to not die.
Not to mention, like, overall, you actually came to realize that he really loved Mikasa.
Oh yeah, he loved Mikasa. Again, I know some people have their issues with it being romantic, that he loved Mikasa that way, but he also, but I guess I don't know if honorable is the correct word, but there is some. It's interesting that he did play the role of
A martyr?
Of not even a martyr. He played the role of an evil devil that people will always look that way to save his friends, and so that's why it's like his friends are grateful for what he did for them, and it's funny. I think they even all agree that of what he did, but the rest of the world will not. They will always look at him as this evil person, but his friends, the ones that he cared about, the ones that he gave, I think each of them he talked to them and gave them some sort of life with him, or a potential life without Titans or something like that for a bit to each of them, however long that took him. And I think that's why they care more that he loved them so much. And he's like,
oh, for sure.
And they really like look over. You killed 80%. Well, you love me. You showed me a good time. That's how I see it. So it's kind of weird. Like, I don't think he's justified in it. But if you ask his friends, they will always justify it because of what Eren gave them. But
I do feel like that could, I don't know. I think because the whole story starts with them three, right? Mikasa and Armin, there were like his family, and he wanted to do the best for them initially. They had a lot of struggles, but overall, he cared about them so much that he needed to find a way to do it. And if at the end he had to make the sacrifice, although a lot of people did die, it goes back to that.
It kind of goes back to like we could look at this other parallel. I mean, I don't know if it's a parallel, but we look at World War II, right? We saw that thousands of innocent people died from the 2 atomic bombs on Japan. Now we look at that, and people don't know for sure, but people say that Japan could have kept fighting till the bitter end until we actually got to Japan and started fighting, and there could have been even more people dead than the innocent lives that we took. So it's like, was that justified? So it's kind of weird. I don't know how long. Initially, 80% of the people died, but how many more people would have died?
I think he said it's 80% of the outside world, because he says the 20% that's left matches the same population as Parody. So I guess arguably it's 60%, but it's still a massive amount. Do you have thoughts? Did you finish it or no?
Yeah, I finished. I read it, didn't watch it.
What are your thoughts?
Just a lot of the same things you guys felt, like how you were saying, not in the depths of what you said, but like what they were talking about. It was interesting to see what Eren was doing for the sake of his friends. It was just I don't know. If it felt weird that he did that just to save them. I didn't like it.
So this is to me, it's what comes down, and I think this is what Isayama is trying to point at: a moral code, right? So now you can view the rumbling as nuclear warfare. That's how I interpreted it, right?
Yeah.
You can flatten the whole world with nuclear warfare, and as we see with Eren, it just takes one person to do it. So what if Eren decided not to do the whole rumbling, and then because he doesn't do it, the leaders or powers that be, the rest of the world, notice it, and then they're like, oh. Because I know the intent was like the whole thing. They need to extract resources, but I guess the idea is you just need to just say no once, and then if the rest of the world does the same, there's no need for any of that, right? Like that's the power of it. But because he was so inclined on the idea of every iteration, he pulled the Doctor Strange, right? And he couldn't find one other than that. There is one. He didn't have to flatten the world. They could have ended it in disaster. It could have, but his hands wouldn't have been bloodied, and I know he was willing to do it. I'm not saying it's an easy choice. Way easier said than done. But it's like the whole idea that one decision, especially from someone in power, affects everyone negatively or not. And the way to look at it is if I've talked to fans and they're like, oh, it's justified and I'm glad he did it. I go, okay, if you want to add that to real world circumstances, we are Marley in the US. We would be Marley.
Yeah.
The way it's written, we're Marley. You would argue that UK's Marley. And like, I wouldn't say China's Marley too. Like, so, okay, maybe the government deserves it, or specific figures in the government do deserve to be trampled, whatever moral code that is, whether you abide by it or not, whatever. But do you think that hundreds of millions of people that had no choice, just like the Eldians didn't have choice in the matter, deserve that kind of fate? A reasonable person would answer no. So it's like, when I ask those people, like, okay, well, what if Marley represents the U.S.? Because I think it does. It represents any current first world power, superpower. So China, U.S., Russia. Okay, those governments probably should collapse, but do the people deserve to be flattened? I'd say no, type of thing. So when I ask that kind of, it switches their mood immediately. Like, well, I think that's why this story is so powerful. Maybe I'm reading into it too much. It could be just a story.
No,
but
this is good,
too
though.
much.
There's a lot of parallels.
There's too much references to that for me not to think that that's what a message he's trying to send.
Yeah, and again, like, I know that he did it. Again, he did it because he selfishly wanted all his friends to survive. Because he did no other ways, but he's like, no, this is the way my friends survive. And again, I think there's but again, I don't blame him for choosing that, because I know a lot of people are, our decisions, there are people that are really good. They will look at it from a bigger perspective, saying this is what's best. I'm going to do it this way. But I think a lot of us are flawed, and it shows in Aaron that I think our view is like, no, I really only care about my family, what's best for my family.
Yeah.
And I want to do it this way. Again, you look at the whole Itachi thing. Itachi could have been like, I'm not going to kill my family because this is my family.
Sure.
But he was like, no, he was looking at it at a bigger perspective. Like, no, the village is what ultimately needs this to happen, and I'm willing to do it. Again, he was flawed because he couldn't finish it by killing Sasuke. So it's interesting. Like, I can see why he did it, why Aaron did it. It shows that he was human, even with all that power. Like, he still was human because he still wanted to do it for his friends.
Yeah,
and there's no benefit for him because he's not going to be alive to see that, and everyone will always see him as a monster. So, in that sense, I can see why people are okay with this decision. Sure. But again,
what if there's another approach, right? Like, let's call out the hypocrisy. Why doesn't he and Armin and whoever else is a Titan go to the world powers and say, you know what? We want to end this. Now this is how we eliminate the whole Titan power. And they said, because they realize they're going to die regardless, right? Or at least Aaron does. Armin, I guess, survives later. But I'm willing to sacrifice myself and get rid of this power. Maybe we can arrange some sort of political agreement for resource extraction from parity that you guys need. We make money off of it, expand our technological advances. But you have to promise that it doesn't resort to war anymore. Like, we're ending not the bloodline, but we are ending the whole power scheme of the Titan thing. I think that could have been considered. And that's where that's where I think that's why the message is powerful, that he's like, everything I saw, okay, you saw, but you made the wrong choice or right choice, depending on where you side.
I think he made the choice that benefited him and his friends the most.
Agreed. That is not disputable. I think that's like, it's factually, that's the choice that benefited them the most, that he knew would guarantee some level of peace. Because even if he did sacrifice himself, they could be like, okay, cool, the threat's gone, we can just annihilate them. That has happened in history. But at that point, I guess his memory isn't tainted, but he didn't care about his memory, and that's like the self-sacrifice he made.
Yeah.
But that's why it's such a cool concept.
See, I think that's the part that intrigues me the most, the sacrifice itself. I know, even though we were talking justification or not, the part that the main character of the story, able to make the final sacrifice to obtain some happiness to the people around him.
Gotcha.
And I think that, for me, it's what speaks to me the most. I mean, because the story is basically about him and his group of friends, right? You get to find out about other people, other individuals later on in the story, but overall it goes back into the basic. And especially thinking about, like, I think Isayama said, like, one of the last chapters initially a while ago in an interview is somebody holding a baby and the word freedom. And I think in a way it kind of actually delivered that, because he made the sacrifice so other people past him could have the freedom that they could have, even though eventually it goes back into the whole cycle once again after the show ends.
Yeah.
Right? So
which
It's very human as well.
I do like it because they he did this in a real world, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a realistic environment.
There's other things that have happened that there's a sacrifice made and everything was happy. Like
Happy ending.
let's look at Fullmetal Alchemist, right? Edward gave up his sacrifice was he gave up his alchemy. Look at Code Geass. He made himself to be the villain and get killed. Like that's what he planned this all along, right? And that became a more happy ending. But this one's like, yes, it's happy for these characters, but it actually, we just see at the end, like it just happened again.
Yeah.
It really didn't fix anything.
It's realistic because the cycle.
And that's what I think that's what makes it really great.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Is it just shows that this is a real world application. It's not all the sunshine and roses. It's this is what's happening. This is human nature. So
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of Attack on Titan. Why people gravitate to it so much.
Yeah, and so I know you mentioned like things I hate. Not too many things I hate. It's just
Season 1 and 2.
That literally like it drags so much. I'm not willing to go back and watch it, but it does have replay value. That is worth something. I hated Historia. I absolutely fucking hated Historia. She is a CUNT, and I will say that this is why she had memories, and we know she had memories, right? Like it's confirmed she had memories. She chose to be a political head that did nothing. That did not, and I had this big conspiracy. I think I shared it with both of you guys that she knows she's going to do something. She's manipulating something behind the scenes because she doesn't have all the memories that Eren does, but she does have some memories. And no, she chose nothing. She chose to get pregnant. But that's what. So when I saw that she was pregnant, I said, okay, when Eren dies, because that was the only spoiler I knew. I knew that he was going to die. I didn't know how or who or by what reason. I knew he was going to die. And then they said that if the Titan powers aren't passed down, that it goes to the next Eldian born. So I figured that Historia would somehow know that she would be in a position, because of the memories, this is how I figured it out. She would have shared the memories and know exactly when Eren was going to die. She could time her pregnancy and have the baby so that when he dies, it's the next born Eldian, and that Eldian will now inherit the powers, and then she'll go back to being. But that didn't happen, right?
Yeah.
But that was like
in her case, I think it's an example if she wanted to get out of the whole cycle.
That's why she also got. Well, that's how she also got out. But I think that
But she did nothing. That's my point. That's what I hate. Like, and that's I'm not blaming Isayama. Like the story had to focus on something else, but no, actually, I mean, as a fan, I guess I get to complain about that. She was made out to be such an important figure, and then she's just brushed to the side. I didn't like that. It was kind of forgotten about.
I was thinking about. I remember when we were reading the manga, and when it was announced that Historia was pregnant. I remember a lot of people were like,
Eren's the father.
Eren's the father.
God.
They're like, the whole thing was like, this is the backup plan. Like, if Eren dies or something happens, we have this line. It could have been, his child that inherits the
Attack
power.
on Titan 2.
Like that was the whole thing. That was the whole conspiracy when they first came out. When you first found out that Historia is pregnant, because it never mentions the father ever.
Not to mention, in addition to that, you were able to watch that from beginning to end. For us, we had to wait until next month.
No, that makes sense.
And that's what a lot of speculations happened because it felt very incomplete, right?
No, I get that. And I mean, my speculation was, she's doing it on purpose to get the founding power back. But because remember, she didn't want to wield it, but I think she wanted to have some sort of control over it.
Yeah.
Another thing, I don't know if it was explained. I don't think it was, but all the walls were Titans that had the hardening ability. Why is the hardening ability like a wall, like a perfect wall? Why is it straight like that? Because when they have the hardening, I think they just shape it around like their structure. So how do they get it to be a perfect wall? That's just like a weird nitpicky thing. It bothered me.
The walls are so straight.
Like it should have been them locking arms. Like it should have been obvious they were Titans, not like a perfect wall. But again, I digress. When the owl changed into the Attack Titan with Grisha, and like he killed the fleet of Marlians, and I know that the political heads were after the Attack Titan because of the whole founder thing, and they knew it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They never mentioned it again. Like, why wouldn't they have sent people to at least investigate, like the Cart Titan or something? Because he ruined 2, 3, 5 boats, killed Marlians. And they knew, like, if something happened, and it couldn't have been the standard pure Titan, whatever they're called, just Titans, abnormals.
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else that kind of bothered me.
What do you think of Zeke?
Zeke, I didn't care for him, but he was being a good older brother, I guess. He was a conflicted child. He was a rat. He ratted out his parents. Actually, he's a piece of shit. So
I hated Z. I love.
Yeah,
I love that Levi got to kill him.
yeah. What else? So at the end, like when they're the ship, there was what's his name? I call him. I don't know if this was Prozac. What's his name?
You're giving me the. I don't remember. His name.
The guy with like the wrinkles under his face.
Yeah.
It looks like he's transmutations.
Yeah.
Him and the McGaff guy, the Nick Kaplan guy. That's where I wanted to say earlier. Back to the idea of like people putting differences aside and sacrificing for the greater good. They showed what could have happened, but like Aaron had made up his mind. I think before even talking to the powers, right? That's like one of those things where I think if Aaron had done that, that's where Irvin would have been the difference between Armin and that. Irvin would be like, no, I have to go talk to them type of thing. Even if I die, I have to try that way. So that'd be a cool what if. If he wrote that, I would easily eat that up. That'd be so cool. I think that might be it. The Falco turning into a bird felt like a little bit of an ass pull. I don't know if I missed something, but I'm like, oh, this is the guy that happens to fly.
My whole thing about I don't. First of all, I thought that was weird, but B, I was like, obviously, the name was like in it, but I think it was also like the whole representation. The whole representation of freedom is the bird,
right?
And so it's like, yes, of course, the way they're going to win, or the only chance they have is again with Falco being the bird and giving them another chance to regroup and go back to fight Aaron. And
I guess he did get some of the serum from Zeke, and he is the Beast Titan, and you'd imagine a Beast Titan could manifest as a bird.
Yeah, I mean, you
saw fair, I guess.
You saw when all the Titans come out, right? They were all different.
Yeah, that's true.
So it makes sense, but again, I think he did it to show this was their...
And then what about Ymir when she had the Jaw Titan? She didn't have any of the hardening nails or the jaw, like the mask. I thought it was maybe because it was a family thing, because it was Galliard, Falco, and what was the other one?
No, the thing is because...
She didn't have the nails.
Well, the thing is because it wasn't the power she wanted. She wasn't trying to like perfect the power, or learn from it. She just
so you're saying they grow that as a power part?
No. Like they were wanting to because you remember how in the beginning Aaron was learning how to harden, how to use his Titan abilities to do stuff. I don't think Ymir cared to do that because all she was trying to do was survive. So she wasn't trying to.
I see what you're saying, but to me, my understanding of the Jaw Titan is those were exclusive features. Was that like face mask, that hard face mask, wasn't like a hardening feature. It's just part of the Titan. And then they specifically had these nails, like the claws.
Yeah, I think it's something that they were training themselves to use.
Oh,
because Ymir never tried.
I don't know.
That's my thing.
That's one thing that threw me off.
She never tried because she just was trying to lay low, so she never used that power.
Okay,
so she was just like. That's why she was more herself when she was transformed in the beginning than looking like any kind of Titan because she didn't.
I'll accept that. I just view that as maybe he didn't think it all the way through, and he's like, "I'm not going to go back and redesign her. I'll just leave it at that."
Yeah,
but okay, I'll take that.
So overall,
yeah,
what would you rate it?
Ooh, if I had to include, I mean, I wouldn't be able to rate it if I included season 1 and 2 because I wouldn't make it through seasons 1 and 2. Let me be unbiased, I guess, in that regard. Let's say I push through it and include season 1 and 2, which do drop points because even though with replay value, you don't get replay value on first watch. But the ending is so, like, the last 2 seasons are so good that it makes up points too.
Yeah, not to mention that the end connects to the very first episode as well too.
Easily 8, probably 9 out of 10.
Okay, that's good.
Easily 8. 9 out of 10.
That's a push.
Yeah.
A stretch.
A stretch. 8.5 pretty, I'm settled on 8.5, but like if I gave it a 9, I'd be overlooking almost completely seasons 1 and 2.
I mean, that's what like it was really important for us to
one of the best written stories.
Yeah, stories like that.
One of the best written stories.
And that's what I'm saying, like things like this I will definitely consider a classic in anime. No matter what age you may be, I think it's definitely like something new, something that brought new audiences, provide a good story, provide some real life events. And the thing that I'm really glad, and this is something that I'm really happy, is that even the ending makes sense.
This wasn't. I actually thought a lot about Mr. because I know you hate Christopher Nolan's endings because if he does it often enough, I get it, and it's respectable to think that he's lazy. Like, you interpret it for yourself. This is real life, and real life always you have to interpret on your own. But because everything else was so tightly written, it's not lazy, because it's like if he wanted to write a tight ending, cool. Because I did see on some forums people are like giving him a lot of discrediting him a lot, saying that he wrote such a good story and then at the end he decides to walk away from it and let us interpret it. I think that's its strength.
No, and that's also like something that he could do. Like he can do whatever he wants, right? And that's a reason why,
of course. But as a
to
consumer,
that,
I will agree that there are times where I've had stories. This is a poorly written story, and you decided not to do that because you didn't have the skill or the desire to actually end up writing and committing to an ending. I don't think that's Isayama's case. I think the way he ended it was, I think, excellent. He could have committed to an ending. I guess it would have been fine. But I'm just saying, I don't find it lazy for Isayama. But if the whole Christopher Nolan, which we're watching his movies, if that's a continued thing, I actually view that as lazy.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
if you consistently refuse to allow an ending, that's terrible. Because Isayama had 4 seasons of very tight, excellent, almost flawless writing. So yeah, you have the ability to leave it open for interpretation, and I don't think I can't reasonably call him out on it because everything else is so well written. Good, you get that pass.
I think he made
it better.
And I think he made it to have it open like that. It was the best way to do it because
yes,
with a closed ending with this one, I think it would have been super super hard to do and to make it feel.
Well,
like make it feel. I don't know how to.
Its beauty is in the moral discussion we just had.
Because that's the whole thing is who was
and you
right.
Can't do that definitively.
And he said both sides had faults. Both sides did very terrible things. And now it's like, well, which one was worse?
That's
right?
true.
Was his killing 80%? Was that justified in the sense that there were, I don't know how many years, let's say hundreds of years of peace where there was no actual real wars? Was that worth it? To rebuild it? I mean, again, ultimately it goes back to now it happened again, but was that hundreds of years or whatever of peace worth killing 80% of the population?
Yeah.
So it's like, and I think that's a great one. It's not like, I know people love Inception, and I never really like Inception too, but it's like, is he in a dream or is he not? And you see a little thing, I'm like, to me I was like, I don't know why you got to make it like that. It's just
the best way to summarize it is Isayama provided value by leaving it open like that, whereas others don't provide value. Like, you figure it out. And some artistic people, I know I consider myself like an artistic person, but they're like, oh, that's so beautiful. Look, it's so artistic. This approach, like, actually, that was lazy in my opinion, but. This is not. I'm clarifying that. This was an excellent. I don't think that there could have been a better way to end it, actually.
And that's something that we were worried. I think I don't know if you heard this in the past, but
yeah, I heard you guys discussing how it ends.
The story, even before that, like the chapter before that. Well, it ended, but the thing that I was worried is like, how is the anime going to do it? If it has to be done carefully.
So how does the manga end? Now that I know what the anime does.
It ends very similarly, but there are subtle changes to the dialogue that made it a lot better. So
there's improvement in the anime when it comes to dialogue.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a part in when Aaron's talking to Armin, there's a line when he's talking about going to hell, and Armin says something along the lines of thanking Aaron for going to hell. I can't remember exactly. It's something about like that they were thanking him for going to hell or something.
Or making that like an annihilation or something.
Annihilation, something like that. And they changed it in the anime.
Thanks for annihilating the world for us.
Oh, I did have this discussion with my friend. That actually makes more sense to me. So I actually think that's probably done better in the manga. It just doesn't make sense to view it that like you lose viewership in that.
Yeah, and that's why they changed it because there was. It makes sense. Like you are thinking because he that's what he did. He did kill millions of people to have you survive because he thought of you. So, but people were.
No, I think the issue is that he's thanking him, not that the because clearly he's committing genocide. They say it in the anime,
but the thinking but they changed it because he says. I think he says
that's
thank you for
cooler.
going.
I mean, not that I condone that. Okay, I'm just saying because that's realistic, right?
Yeah.
Like we'll talk about the man with the mustache. He wasn't the only one making that choice, and everyone was around him was probably agreeing with him. They were thinking this is the right choice, applauding him, giving him pats on the back. So it makes sense that his closest people would be like, yeah, we're pro this. Let's go ahead and annihilate everybody so that we can live.
Yeah.
That makes far more sense than Aaron being the only one thinking this is the right choice. He would have. That's where the Jaegerists come in,
Yeah.
right? Like they replace that, but you would think that some of his closest friends would be like, no, this is the right choice. We're going to annihilate them.
Yeah, so basically in the manga was like, thank you for annihilating, and then they think in the anime he says thank you for going to hell for us or something like that.
Yeah, and
So-
he says
so
I'll
the-
join you or something. Yeah,
Yeah, something like that. So they change
We'll
it
join you when that comes to
people in the anime liked that more, and it was more well received than when the manga came out. People were like, "How could you think Aaron? Aaron just this." You know, it was
because it's they don't like it because it's real. But that's
Exactly,
why
yeah.
it makes it so beautiful. But
But again,
excellent
I think
anime.
those
Excellent.
little changes for the anime viewers helped it become a more well received ending
I
than
think
it was in the
also
manga.
In the manga, you don't see the ending like in the anime does. I think we get it. I think we
Yeah, I
got it
heard
later.
that
The after
post credit
credits.
thing is not a thing in the manga.
We got that later.
You get it at the final volume when the final volume came out.
No, but I gotta say, it's definitely because, like I said, we were worried that the ending was the last chapter is gonna be horrible, or the last anime episode is gonna be horrible.
Yeah, we thought.
And that's something that you worry too much, especially with a lot of shows like this. Like another example, My Hero Academia. It could be great right now, but the ending could be horrible.
Right now,
It's not that we're hoping.
Right now,
And
the
there's a lot-
manga is
it's
on
going intense.
fire. I'm not.
Mr. was telling me.
I can't
Well,
wait.
he didn't tell me what it is. Okay, I don't like spoilers, but he was saying it was incredible.
And here's the kind of I guess we can go to Naruto in the sense that we were having this great fight with Madara, and all of a sudden Kaguya comes out, and you're like, "This is the final boss." You're like,
Yeah.
like most people were like,
After the second watch through, I will admit I'm not dick riding Naruto, but some of it did make sense, and there was some foreshadowing.
Right, there was
for
some
it.
foreshadowing, but
so it
still
wasn't a
it's-
complete asshole that people claim it to be. But it is underwhelming because Madara was just a special villain.
and you have Black Zetsu just all of a sudden kill. Like what?
And no one liked Black Zetsu. I think that was the biggest issue too. Is like Black Zetsu, who really was like, "Oh, Black Zetsu's my favorite Akatsuki." He was the least favorable Akatsuki member,
But
he was a piece of shit.
But it doesn't make sense that he's the one that gets the
Glory, or,
gets the kill.
Yeah.
I'm like, no way. I think that was it. If there was some other way that they brought Kaguya,
it's symbolic
sure.
though, right? Because
Yeah.
he does set it up. As much as you want to talk about foreshadowing, it could have been coincidental, but Madara doesn't like people standing behind him when he pees. 'Cause he's most vulnerable, like behind him, right?
Yeah.
So the idea that that's how he died, it just sucks that it was a piece of shit Zetsu. But
Yeah, if it was something else, like
I'm
it
only
would've been-
defending it because I think people. You right to hate it, but I think that people discredit the writing, and I'm defending, I guess, the writing on it. That's
I get
it.
you.
Yeah, because the writing is also very
But
important.
that's
on
where
that.
we're kind of like, again,
It underwhelmed the finale.
It still was underwhelmed.
Yes,
It's
I
still
will give you
underwhelmed
that.
overall.
Yes, agreed. I agree. But that's it. Attack on Titan, highly recommend. Excellent, solid 8 out of 10 for sure.
Well,
I could push it to maybe
one
9.
little thing. So this is my thing because I didn't believe it. I don't know. I have a hard time understanding when people were saying this. So the last scene in the anime,
Yeah.
and you see that kid going to the tree, and you see Aaron's grave in there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh huh.
People were saying that like Aaron is now the new Emir, and he's going to awaken the Titans.
Nah, I think
That's
that's too
not
much.
it, right?
That doesn't not to me because the Emir transferred her thing from the spinal worm thing, and because that was destroyed, I guess you would just imagine there's maybe more of those. So it could recycle the Titan powers, but it wouldn't be that worm, so it wouldn't contain the memories. At least not in my mind.
Okay.
So I'm of the opinion that there is another worm in there, whatever the spinal creature thing is, and they'll start the cycle of Titans again. But that's like the founder, not like Emir. That story has ended. It's closed.
Yeah.
That's how I view it.
If they were to do it, not that I wanted them to do it, it would be like it would pick up from there. But I
Yes.
think at this particular point, it should just end. No more. Keep as it is. I think it's a classic already as it is.
Yeah, no, there's no need for
Right.
more.
I think we're
Leave it
definitely
untouched.
Also, when you were watching the end credits, I don't know if you did, but did you know that was it season 2 or 3? 2.
Season 2, we showed them
Season 2 showed the whole story of Emir. Isn't that weird to see
Yeah.
that they gave you so much in that?
Yeah,
'Cause my
the only
brother-
thing I picked up on was the devil, because that's like a Nordic or a Norse mythology, like the devil with the little girl making a deal. That's the only thing I recognized from the opening. That's one of the stories I know,
there was
but I
there was
didn't know what it meant while I was watching season 2. I just recognized.
well, there's
the picture.
interpretations on that as well still, because some people were saying this might have also been a representation mural of Ymir giving the power to Aaron, and
Aaron's
Aaron being the devil.
Yeah,
So again, I don't think anything has that been confirmed, but that's what I know a lot of people are thinking. That's what that picture was.
look, this is where
Representing.
I have to give the benefit of the doubt to Isayama because it's so well written. It's like, I'll talk hip hop, right? With you and I, like, we know a lot of Jay-Z's bars. It's too coincidental that he has so many triple entendres for it to not be what he intended for, right?
Right.
So for Isayama, like, it's a stretch. Look, the rest of the story is so tight knitted that it like, even if it's not, I have to give it to him. Like, he intended for that. I'm okay with that. So
Yeah.
Sweet.
yeah, great story. So if you can make it past the first 2 seasons like I could, season 3 and 4 definitely are worth it.
Good.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Well, thanks, guys, for a great episode. I can't wait for next week with our
Mutant Powers.
The Mutant Powers is going to be awesome. So watch out for that. We will talk about that and have Shark King. I'll have 5 people here next time.
Awesome.
Yep. So remember, you can watch these episodes on YouTube first. They are 2 weeks behind on the podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Google, Podomatic, Spotify. But again, that's because we want you to watch these here first. But you can listen to them whenever you want to. And remember to follow us on our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Tuna Podcast, C, N, P, and obviously on YouTube where you're watching this. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you next time. This is David the Smash Fan.
Mister.
Yeah, pouring is falling asleep.
And Boricua Senpai.
And this is Chibino Podcast.